And a good evening to all of you joining us here at the Marcia Week Show on this Monday, November the 25th. Would you believe that we are just a few days away from completing the month of November? Of course, our Independence Month, culminating with Independence Day, our celebration of when Barbados became a nation. And certainly, we are grateful to God for how He has kept our country. Our national anthem, which we are going to play in just a few moments, enshrines the Lord has been the people's guide for past 300 years. With him still on the people's side, we have no doubts or fears. And I'm glad to tell you this evening that we'll always have God on our side because he's a faithful God. He's a God that looks after his people. I mean, after all, the earth is his, the fullness thereof, and everybody that dwells in it. And that includes this 166 square mile island of Barbados and all 280 to 300,000 people plus that are living here. And I'm glad to tell you tonight that when we became a nation, God blessed us with great leadership down through the years. We used to have that saying that Barbados punches above its weight, and I think it still does to this very day. And certainly, I am very honored and I'm very proud to be a Barbadian. And there's a component of pride that we have that is good. You know, there's always that aspect where it's a bad component, but we should think of ourselves soberly. We should think of ourselves highly, but not more highly than we ought to. All right. And look, it's such a joy to have Marcia joining me this
Hi.
evening. Now, that is an unusual feature. I can't even find the words. The words have failed me. Good night to you, Tamika. But Marcy, you're so good at welcoming all these individuals. I tried my best going down through the line.
Well,
But
thank you, Dr. Ferdinand.
oh my goodness.
This is your night, but it's a special night, and I
Oh
thought that
yes.
it would be in order for me to be on. I called you. I said, "Can I be on tonight with you?" And I thank you for allowing me to be on tonight
Oh, I wouldn't
because
have it any other way because folk, you don't go anywhere. Listen, share, 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 and the thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, and the like. You're not going to want to miss tonight. Tonight is a special night. All right, you're not going to want to miss tonight. What do you say,
Really, well,
Mars?
let's welcome the people. There's Angel
Yes.
Humble that's on, and Teroni Hall is on. Good night,
Good
everybody. We
night. Good
just
night. Yes.
Judy Jilks and Vernon Garnes. How are you doing, Vernon? It is so great to see you. I believe you are in the diaspora. Judy, I hope you feel a bit better. Queen B, how are you? Patrick Designs. Patrick Designs has the thumbs up sign, and
Yes.
so
Yes.
I'm hoping that you are actually liking the show and you're sharing tonight. Okay, so please welcome back, Mr. Franklin. We know that that's happening tonight, and you don't want people to miss it. So once again, please share, please like and share. And there's a little subscribe button there, Monica Ince. If you and Jefferson Sobers, good night. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go right ahead and do that. Like and share, please. And Erwin Nurse, remember, Mr. Franklin hasn't been on here for a while, and
Yes.
so
For
we
quite a
are
few weeks.
excited. Eh?
Absolutely. And we see Sir Alfred is back on again tonight as well, locked on from Brooklyn. I always look for him when I'm coming on. He's there. And let me see, is Marcia there? Because I can't go to the national anthem without Marcia. Marcia has to be here that I can go to the national anthem because she's the one that keeps me on my toes, Marcia. Well, that's this Marcia, but that's the other Marcia. Yep, she is here. She is right there. Look, Marcia, good evening all the loyal opposition and daughters and sons of this great nation. So we're at would you believe that, Marcia? We are already at 310 and we're only 4 minutes into the show.
Yeah, because people are liking and they're sharing, and that's what happens. If everybody who's on, all 309 of you, if you would like right now, take this moment, just pause, like, and share. Share to all of your WhatsApp group, Facebook, wherever you are, wherever on social media you congregate. We ask you to share, to like, share, and remember the subscribe button. hit that button. Tonight, we are talking about the JOBBY water. We're going to look into that in detail. And then, Mr. Franklin, we have a little session there for you to call in and just ask him questions. Ask Caswell. Ask Caswell section. You haven't seen him in a long time, and so we're going to ask you to call in, welcome him back, talk to him tonight, and let him know how much we love him and how special he is to the people of Barbados. He's
That's
a
right.
national treasure. Over to
That's
you,
right.
Dr. Ferdinand.
You are there looking so absolutely ravishing in the yellow and the blue. And I'm here. Look at me. Look, I need to go have a change of clothes.
Oh
But at
no,
least
not your pin
I
on.
have my flag.
Yes.
I have my flag. All right. Well, listen, folk, let's get the national anthem in, because we always want to respect and honor our country. You know, I always on Monday evenings go into that national anthem within a few minutes, and then of course I always use that pledge of allegiance. You know, I always remind us as to where our allegiance lies. It doesn't lie with a political party. Our allegiance lies with our flag and our country. All right. So I'm going to prep Dave to go with that national anthem. When he's ready, Dave, just go right ahead and as they would say on Sesame Street, just push the button. Oh my goodness, I'm almost tempted to go hip hip hooray, hip hooray, hip hooray. Oh my goodness.
Happy Independence, Barbados. And I know you normally do the
Absolutely.
pledge. You
Yes,
normally do the
and
pledge.
I want all of you to join me. I mean, I can't hear you, but you can hear us. But I want us to pledge allegiance to our country, the national pledge. I pledge allegiance to my country, Barbados, and to my flag, to uphold and defend their honor, and by my living, to do credit to my nation wherever I go. And it's a short extract, you know, Marcia, but it speaks volumes. What it
Yes,
says
it
is that
does.
we are more concerned about our country than we are about our political connections, you know, our organizational aspects. In other words, what we are saying here, loyal opposition, is that our focus is Barbados. Our focus is our country. Our focus for the economy, for health, for all the aspects and all the areas of governance is for the advancement, development, and benefit of the people of Barbados. And that is what we are about, you know. That is why we are here every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, every Sunday. So many sacrifice their time and give of themselves. It takes a lot even to prepare, you know, Marcia. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that many people are not aware of.
Correct. Yes, quite a bit. And I know while we're waiting for Mr. Franklin to join us this evening, he's going to be coming to us later on. We have some a segment that you've prepared for us, and we also have our independent segment that we're
Yes.
going to do. And then Mr. Franklin is going to come on, and we are going to just allow him to, to just say what he has to say. We're his children. And we're open and ready to hear from the general. So we're going to
Yes.
turn over to you, Dr. Ferdinand, and you good to go right into your segment.
Well, you know, he's going to have a lot to say, a lot to talk about, so we have to give him the time. But, you know, as we prep for him and as we look forward to engaging Caswell and having him back with us, I want to make a couple of comments. You know, we've had a busy last several days and last couple of weeks, and we've been engaging so many subjects. And, you know, one of the major discussion points in recent days has been this debt swap matter. Now, I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, pretend to be an economist or even, for that matter, an accountant. But you know, I'm mindful of the fact that my mother taught me that getting debt to get you out of debt just simply digs a deeper hole of debt. And so I'm always very concerned when I hear aspects of things to do with debt swapping, you know. And I listened last night as Maxine was sharing and others, and I listened to the show with Kimar's show on Thursday with the whole matter of this debt swap, and it should cause us concern. And I'll tell you one of the areas that causes concern for me. It appears that the government keeps implementing processes and signing off on agreements and making arrangements without any consultation or even information or notification to the people of Barbados. You know, in a real sense, if we didn't raise some kind of a furor concerning the cybercrime bill, there's a real possibility it would have passed through the House and passed through the Senate, and nobody would have been any more aware of it until something happens. And the government just seems to be continuing to function this way. Now, that's against a significantly troubling background of their political campaign commitments. The commitments, the two that stand out most to me, are the matters of transparency and accountability. And in both of those instances, the Prime Minister raised these matters again from her own mouth. And I want you to hear her, you know, because sometimes people think that we're conspiracists, we're conspiracy theory people. But I want you to hear the Prime Minister herself speaking on these matters in their recent conference at the Christchurch, at the Foundation School, where the conference was held. I want you to hear what she said, and you'll finish listening to it, and we may not play the whole thing. It's not a very long clip anyway, so I'm going to ask Dave to just run that clip and let you hear what the Prime Minister herself. You know, I like to remind people of their words. You know, you got to be careful what you say. There's an old saying: "Be sure brain is engaged before putting mouth into gear." And I would have to say that that is some advice I would like to give to all the politicians that are currently in the House of Assembly, probably with the exception of one, but I wouldn't tell you who that exception is. But I want to ask Dave to just run that segment with the Prime Minister.
And the voices of accountability. This beacon encourages every Bajan to speak up and take responsibility when they see something going wrong in this country, in their community, in their houses, in their jobs. It embodies the idea that accountability isn't just for leaders, but for every citizen. Tanya Stevens reminds us of corruption in high and low places, only to remind us that because we have a colonial mentality, we see only the oppression that is above us and not the oppression that is among us. Creating a culture of silence in the face of patent wrongdoing is not just acceptable, it is dangerous and it is destructive. And speaking up respectfully and, more importantly, speaking truth becomes a civic duty of every citizen of this country and everyone who chooses to want to live among us, even though not a citizen. This applies, my friends, to whether we're talking about what happens in our home, our workplace, the church, the community, or even the block, especially the block. There is nothing to be gained through remaining silent when we know better. And to say it shoulda, it coulda, I didn't. Regret cannot be the platform to this country's stability, harmony, or prosperity.
Listen, I listened to that clip. And I want to draw some things to your attention the Prime Minister said. The first thing that came out of her mouth was the word accountability. That's the first word that came out of her mouth. And Barbadians are living up to what she is saying. We are holding, ma'am, you accountable because you are our leader. You are the government. You are the people who we elected to office to govern this country. So you have a greater responsibility for accountability than your citizens. So just let me make that point right now. She says every Bajan must speak up. Well, we have spoken up and we are speaking up. That's what the journey to Washington, D.C. was all about. It was about Barbadians speaking up. Ma'am, you have given us the permission to speak up. You have authenticated, you have credited, you legitimized the right of every Barbadian to speak up, and we're speaking up. So when we speak up, ma'am, you cannot ignore us. You cannot complain or say that we're complaining. That is disingenuous because you have given us the responsibility to speak up. And let me say, you said it's for everybody. Yes, we agree. It is everybody. We are all responsible for accountability and transparency, but more so leaders than even the people in the country. The greater responsibility falls upon you, ma'am. And then she makes the comment concerning speaking the truth. Now, you know, I have been finding that governments and politicians are taking a swipe at their people concerning the matter of speaking the truth. And what we have discovered over the past 3 years of the pandemic is that the biggest liars, the biggest promoters of misinformation and false information were governments. Governmental leaders who are now trying to sanction, censor, and shut the mouths of the very same people that you say we should speak up when we see something is not going right, when something is wrong in the community or in the family or in the church. But you don't want the people to speak up when things are wrong in government. What we are doing today is indeed, it is the civic duty of every citizen, ma'am, to speak the truth. We are speaking the truth. The truth is that you and your government are engaging agreements, engaging debt financing that is going to saddle our country with debt long after you and your cabinet and all of us have gone. Our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren will be saddled with the responsibility of dealing with the debt crisis. And let me say this, you know, I made a statement a few weeks ago, a few days ago here on the show, and Maxine coined it. She wrote it down, and it was this statement: when your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep becomes your downfall. The question that we have to ask of the government is not how much more money you're borrowing, but what are you doing to generate revenue where the country is concerned? Because somebody somewhere along the line has to pay the debt. And to pay the debt, you have to be making money. Nobody, no bank, no institution is going to lend you money to buy a car if your income does not facilitate your ability to pay it. You have to be earning income. And even if you go to another bank or another financial institution or the same institution to refinance your debt, you still have to show that financial institution that you have within your capacity the ability to repay the debt. The question we have to ask, ma'am, is what in the agreements with this debt swap, what in the agreements with all of this money that we are borrowing, how long is the repayment plan? What is the interest rate? What is the monthly payment? How are we making and generating the money to be able to pay these debts? We can't keep borrowing to bail ourselves out of debt. We have to earn income. And with all the traveling, ma'am, that you're doing around the world, I am asking a simple question. What are we doing about earning income? I've been told, a lot about scams. And recently we saw the governor of the central bank and others addressing these financial scams and so on around that are around the world and taking advantage of some of our people. And they're making the statement that there's no such thing as free money. Well, if that is what the government is going to say, if that is what the central bank government is going to say, then it is incumbent on the prime minister to tell us about the money that the government of Barbados is accepting on behalf of the people of Barbados. What is the responsibility of the people? Because none of this money comes free. Yes, we understand grant funding. We know that sometimes there are some aspects of grant funding, and grant funding simply means that we get the money and it doesn't have to be repaid. But 95 or more percent, and the accountants and the economists can tell me if I'm right or wrong, of monies that are engaged by the government is as a result of a loan. Here we are looking at Barbados signing a $500 million loan with Exim Bank. Who is going to pay for that? And you know something? I am challenged with this perspective. I listen with interest, and I'm looking forward tonight to Mr. Franklyn addressing the matter of the JOBBY water, the matters of to do with the sewage aspect and this debt swap and all of that. I'm looking forward to him sharing with regards of these matters, because here's the thing. Do you know, and I think it was Kimar that made this, alluded to this and showed us this. We're told that Barbados, the government earns $80 million a month through the sewage tax. That is what I've been made to understand. That is close to $1 billion a year. If that tax has been implemented for 3 years, that is close to $3 billion. That is nothing to do with the tax we're paying at the pump every time you run gas or diesel or kerosene in your car, in your container, or in your diesel truck or whatever it is you're driving. So what is happening to all of that money that the government is taking in through the taxation? We need to be given an account, ma'am. You said at the very beginning of your expression at the conference, accountability. The party, the government, the Barbados Labour Party campaigned on two significant planks against the then government: transparency and accountability. Yet when the leader of the opposition attempts to bring the Public Accounts Committee to give an account for the Hope Project, to give an account for the sewage matter, to give an account for Sam Lords, to give an account for the matter to do with the aspect of the airport, the leasing of the airport. When we come to give an account, then what we simply hear is that the Public Accounts Committee is not engaging it, does not want to pursue it, and there is no accountability, no explanations. None of these things are occurring. These ought to be of concern to the people of Barbados. I'm not going to tell you my age, because I'll tell you why. Because I think it's in the 3rd chapter of Genesis, the Lord said we're going to live to 120. And I am a little over halfway there. So, and I don't know, I am looking, I'm not like Hezekiah. You know, Hezekiah waited until his number got called to put in an application for an extension. And as a result of that extension, the scripture reveals that he gave birth to one of the most wicked kings that ever reigned in Israel. I am not going to be that unwise. I am going to ask him for years now. So long after I am gone, our people are going to be left with another debt. Here's another one. World Bank approves $108 million loan. That just in those two photographs alone is what? $708 million of loans. And we're taking in close to $1 billion of taxes a year. And I would imagine if you're taking in loans for development of the sewage, for infrastructural development and all of that, then I am a very simple person. I don't like to complicate things. If you are taking loans, the bank does not have any problem with anybody getting a loan, you know. The issue with the bank is not how much money you get for a loan. The issue with the bank is whether you can repay the loan. That is the issue with the bank. So if you get the loan and you go buy the car, you go do the roads or you do the sewage or whatever, why aren't we paying down the debt with our $1 billion in taxes or more per year? I want to know what is happening with that money. And don't tell me anything about off ledger and all that. I want none of that fancy accountant talk. I want to know what is our income, what is our expenditure. When I am getting ready to go to the supermarket and when I'm getting ready to put in gas, I want to hear nothing about how much. All I want to hear is how much money we have, how much has come in, and what I can spend. That is the bottom line. And I don't care how you couch it in fancy economic references and accountant terminologies. The bottom line is when your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep becomes your downfall. Now, very quickly, let me move on for the last couple of minutes I have in my segment to one other matter. I have sat here and I've told you all that there is a lot that's happening in Barbados that has not got its origin in this country. And I want Dave to put up one particular picture for me, Dave, which is a picture of the World Economic Forum. And I want you to see who's a member of the World Economic Forum. And then I want Dave to play a video of Charles Schwab in an interview, one of the key components of the World Economic Forum, in which he talks about the matter of infiltrating governments. And so Dave, that is Kamia Prasad Bisasar. That was the former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. You see the arrow going up, World Economic Forum. The next one, Dave, if you don't mind. There, put the next, and who is that? Tell me what that name is again. Look at it there and see where the arrow goes again. World Economic Forum. So the question I have is, Barbados now under the jurisdiction of an unelected group of bureaucrats and wealthy globalists that have not been elected by anybody to do anything in any country, but who are controlling the economies of the world? I want you to listen to what Mr. Schwab has to say. Go ahead, Dave.
When you brought the Young Global Leaders Program here for executive education and the Schwab Fellows, but there are two countries in the world now in which the young global leaders have emerged. Tell us just a bit about that in terms of the governance.
Yes, actually, this notion to integrate young leaders is part of the World Economic Forum since many years. And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, president of Argentina and so on, so that we penetrate the cabinets. So
Stop, Dave. Stop.
Yes,
Stop.
I
Stop,
said
Dave.
before.
Stop. Did you hear what he just said? What we're proud of is that we now penetrate the cabinets. I want you to hear what this man is saying. In other words, there is not a government on the planet. Listen to the names he called, young political individuals, Putin, and he called Trudeau, and there are several other names that are included in this entire presentation that he speaks of. You have names, and I'm going to give you a few. You have names like Bezos, you have names like Gabbard, you have names like Macron, you have names like McCarthy, Musk, Newsom, Trudeau, Zuckerberg. These are the names that he is calling. And he talks about how they have been able, listen carefully to his words. This is a notable achievement. He says we have been able to penetrate the government cabinets. And you can see the connection between our prime minister and this entity called the World Economic Forum. And that is why I have warned Barbados. I have cautioned Barbados. I have said to Barbados, Marcia, over and over and over and over again, that much of what we see being imposed upon us as a people does not have its root origins in Barbados, but it has it overseas. And this is what we as citizens, remember the Prime Minister said, if you see something that's going wrong, speak up. Well, we're speaking up because this is not right. There is nobody on the World Economic Forum, Marcia, that we have elected to represent Barbados as we go into this, what is this celebration of independence? You're muted. Yes.
I'm sorry about that. 58
That's okay.
years. 58 years.
58 years of independence. We have not elected any of them. And so I bring this to your attention tonight that you can be, and as we say on this program, you can be educated, you can be aware of what is happening and how these elitists that nobody has elected has infiltrated, penetrated it. Listen to the word he uses. We penetrate the government cabinets. That's his expression. Mm-hmm. And we are right in there.
Yes. Very, very well said, Dr. Ferdinand, and you're always keeping us abreast of what's happening globally. And the facts are right there before us. And one of the things that I've noted looking at this kind of information, it's not all the prime ministers that are signed up to World Economic Forum. So you should go and take a look at it. But we are going to go into our Bajan spirit tonight, yes. And this is the fun time. And I know a lot of you are calling me, and today I had calls about that conky that my husband ate.
Oh dear!
I left the banana leaf. And left the banana leaf for his wife. Huh? I'm laughing when I come off the show. I had no conky to eat with my tea. And when I got off the show, but no love lost. That's my hobby.
That's a demonstration of his love. Don't forget you're all one. So he believes that when he eats the conky, you also are consumed.
Well, he's getting ready to go into the segment where we celebrate all things Barbadian. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
what I want us to remember is that on Wednesday, we are going to celebrate the father of this nation. When we are going to show the film, the Barrow film is going to be shown at. On Wednesday evening, and then we have the opposition leader from Guyana is going to be on, and several others. As we go through the night, we're going to tell you more, but make sure you get popcorn, drop a seat, and get ready with the whole family around the TV, because we're going to be watching movie on Wednesday. Go ahead, Dave.
Vicious delivery and just managing to get out of the way of it. Not, in fact, all that short.
Woo! Go, man! Malcolm.
What a marvellous catch. Jeffrey Dujon has made tremendous ground there to catch Chris Broad. The first wicket goes down in the England innings for 101. Marshall getting a little bit of extra lift there and a fine catch.
This was a magnificent catch from Dujon. It was the bounce that did Broad, and there we go, one-handed, tumbling to his right, and that really is from a left-hander particularly, where he's a little bit unsighted once that ball comes down the leg side. It was a wonderful catch.
Marshall now is pulling an extra man into catching position on the onside for Graham Fowler. Comes in just behind square. That was fast. Again, that's the quickest delivery he's bowled today.
Well, that was sheer pace. He was past the outside edge while Fowler was halfway through the shot. Not quite a Yorker, but it was sheer pace and not movement that beat him.
The Wobble must be gone. This is a very fast over from Marshall, and he was through Gower's defence there. 106 for 2.
See this from the other end, and I think we'll see that there was movement as well as pace there. Yes, it's straightened back on to David Gower, and a beautiful delivery. This.
And he's given him this time. So he goes LBW. Disappointing end because he really outplayed jolly well up to then. And he goes for 23, and it's another wicket for Marshall. 183 now for 3 England, and Marshall has taken all 3. Ball again, I think, moved back a little bit, but Lamb this time caught on the back foot. This Mike Gattin, very much a cricketer's player. Majority of the cricketers up and down the country have got a very high regard for him. And that was a very unwise decision, and he's got to go LBW there. Complete misjudgment for Mike Gattin.
Oh, wow.
Nothing really can go right to him at this level. It was a fine delivery, but much too close to offer no shot.
When the West Indies were number
So
one.
Marshall strikes again. Both wickets to him this morning, and all 4 that have fallen have come the way of Malcolm Marshall. 185 for 4. And the unfortunate Gattin has gone LBW. Piece of expert judgment there. Went over the top of just about leg middle.
Well, no recognisable shot here from Foster. Almost as much a leave alone as the dismissals of Pringle and Gatting, but a little luckier over the top.
Marcia, you have to tell Cammy you don't want cookies, you want conkies.
And he's gone, beautifully caught. Harper again taking a catch there. Well, I suppose Neil Fawcett threatened to be dismissed in that way.
See it again and just watch that right foot of Foster's as he plays it. There he goes. Just withdrawing that little bit, instinctive tail end reaction, and Marshall just too much for him.
There it is.
That's what Malcolm Marshall we're looking at there.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I tell you. Oh, those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end.
Never end. And Barbados played such a great role in West Indies being number 1. And that's Marshall there for us. Well, let's look at Sade Williams. Listen, we're celebrating all things Britain tonight. So let's watch this one. I love athletics. Oops, did I do something wrong?
I don't know.
Well, we're celebrating all things Barbados tonight. Remember, Mr. Franklin is coming on right after this segment. The next voice you hear will be his. All right, let's go.
In 1974, when she won in Christchurch with 51-6. Sada Williams of Barbados goes in lane 6. The World Championship bronze medalist, as I said, a semi-finalist in Tokyo, but she won her heat in 51-6. She won her semi in 51-5. She'll probably need to go quicker here, that Barbados athlete, if she wants to take the title. Malawi's Asimenye Simwaka holds the Malawi national records at 100, 200, and 400. She's actually a footballer in her spare time, plays as a forward for the Malawi women's national team. She's in 5. In 4, a certain Ohurugu, Victoria Ohurugu, fastest English athlete ever at the Commonwealth Games, was her older sister Christine, who won in Melbourne back in 2006 in 50.28. Janelle Bromfield goes inside her. The Jamaicans in lane 3.
My second country.
World Junior Championship bronze medalist. That was back in 2016. Best of 51.1. She'll probably need to go quick here if she wants to take the title from lane 3. And there is Zoe Clark in lane 2. Aberdeen born, coached by Ryan Oswald, the Aberdeen Athletics Club athlete, actually runs for the London club, Thames Valley Harriers, as well. Well, in all Commonwealth Games prior to today, sub 51 seconds has guaranteed a medal. Will it be that sort of race today? Good conditions here, quite a strong breeze coming from the west of Birmingham, but they're protected here by the main stand. 3 English athletes, 1 Scot, 1 Jamaican, 1 Malawian, 1 Barbadian, and 1 Canadian in the women's.
Barbados all the way. We're going to pretend we never saw this.
Barbados I come from. I haven't. I'm not pretending. 6. This is for real.
I'm expecting Ohurugu in 4 to be the main challenger for England.
On your mark. Set.
Well, it's all about judgment. We had a bizarre judgment call in the men's race with a champion who came through from way back. But look at the Malawi athlete Simwaka blasting away, centre of picture in lane 5. She's already shot past Kyra Constantine, Sada Williams and Constantine of Canada. Sada Williams in the yellow there, 3rd from left now. Just beginning to ease into her run. Simwaka covered the first 200 insanely quickly. Ohurugu in the white and red there, 3rd from white for England, going really well in lane 4. But at the moment, Sada Williams of Barbados has the lead by a convincing margin. And into the straight. The rest of them got a lot of work to do. Ohurugu's coming through, maybe for the silver, but surely not going to get back to the Barbadian Williams. Williams storming away to this one. The margin is 6 meters, maybe 7 meters at the line. 49.91. It's a games record at last in a Commonwealth Games Women's 400 final. The 50-second barrier has been broken, and emphatically so. 49.90. Well, she was running conservatively, as we now know, in her heat, but she won in 51.6. She won a semi, as I said, in 51.5. She was ranked number 2 in the Commonwealth, coming here behind Shawnee Miller-Weibo, the world champion, who chose not to run here, and she upholds her status as favourite and wins comfortably. And Ohurugu there takes a superb silver medal. Sada Williams, 49.90, a games record.
Wow.
Victoria.
Now,
Wow.
and you know what? I've watched this so many times, but I'm playing, just going along like I've never. I love athletics. So it's like I'm behaving like I never saw it before.
Well, you know, Marcy, you may not be aware of it, but the many times that I was at the National Stadium watching my sister run the 100 and 200 meters in Barbados. And I believe at one time she had the national record in the 2 sprints. She went on to the Commonwealth Games, to the games in Puerto Rico, she was one of the people that led in the terms of the Olympics, and I would sit on the edge of my seat, you know, and I'd be going, run, Frida, run.
Well, that's what we're doing. You know what? That's what we're doing. We're cheering Barbados on all the way. This is the part that we're not complaining about anything.
No, we're celebrating. Yes.
So go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Anytime anyone is having a serious, real conversation about music in Barbados, you'd have to search all these fields and hills to find someone who does not bring up our boy, Jackie Opel. That he was a Barbados-born inventor of spooge is what everybody knows for sure. Beyond that, though, not much is known about Jackie. Today, I explore the life of the great Jackie Opel. On August 27, 1937, Dalton Sinclair Bishop was born. You might be wondering why I mentioned this man, but it turns out Jackie Opel's real name was Dalton. Raised a typical Bajan man, probably eating panna sauce on a Saturday, playing cricket in the Gap. Dalton took a keen interest in the red light district of Nelson Street. I ain't gonna lie, that was just a setup for a joke, but the fact remains he frequented the area. That is where he fell in love with music, spending hours upon hours of his time by the jukeboxes so he could listen to his idol, Jackie Wilson, a prominent figure in the American music industry who is known for his contribution to the R&B and soul genres, just to name a few. Dalton Bishop modeled his voice after his idols and adopted the moniker Jackie Opal. At just 17 years old, the talented Jackie Opal booked a stint performing at the Coconut Creek Club in St. James. His star power shined brightly, and guests adored the Bajan Jackie Wilson. He'd matched not only his idol's sound, but also his energetic dancing. His popularity skyrocketed, and he soon became the go-to opening act for overseas performers. In fact, it was said that when Percy Sledge, the singer of When a Man Loves a Woman, was booked to perform at the Globe Theatre in Robert Street, Bajans were so hyped by Jackie Opal's performance that 4 songs into Percy's set, the crowd demanded an encore from Jackie. And knowing how we are as Bajan people, I don't doubt that happened for true. In the 1960s and in his prime, Jackie took things to another level by inventing a genre of music, spooge. Spooge is typically a fusion of Jamaican ska, the precursor to reggae, and Trinidadian calypso, with a little R&B influence. I'll go more in depth on that in another episode, but for now, just remember that ska is from Jamaica, calypso is from Trinidad, and spooge from Barbados. In 1962, Jamaica achieved its independence from Britain. Artists throughout the region flew in to be a part of this celebration. Amongst them, of course, was my boy Jackie Opal. Now, Jackie ain't just pick up and go on his own accord. He was actually discovered by Byron Lee from the Dragonaires, who taken Opal to Jam Rock in order to work with him and expand his talents. You have to remember this was in the 1960s, and it was at this time that the Jamaican music scene was kicking into full gear. This move allowed him to become part of the Satellites, and work with the legendary producer Clement Coxswain Dodd, both of whom are credited with the creation of ska. The Satellites worked with Dodd as a session band at his recording studio, Studio One, the first black-owned studio in Jamaica, and the studio at the forefront of the development of ska, rocksteady, and reggae. I say all that to say that Jackie was playing with the big boys. Through the Satellites, Jackie was able to work with one of Dodd's artists that you may or may not know, Bob Marley, producing the hit song The Millman. Marley was the backing vocalist on that track, by the way. So to clarify, Marley was supporting Jackie. Remember that. Jamaicans love to think that Jackie belonged to them, but after doing a tour in Trinidad, he came back home to the rock. Unfortunately, however, on the 3rd of March 1970, Jackie Opal tragically passed away in a car accident at the young age of 32. Although he died young, Jackie had made strides in the music world and paved the way for many Barbadian musicians to reach his level and go even beyond that.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
the narrator said that Jamaicans believe that Jackie Opal belonged to them, and that's the Jamaican spirit. You know, they go adopt everybody. But Jackie Opal played such a huge role in the development of music in Jamaica, and it is in the history of Jamaica, and you know, it's something for Barbadians to feel very, very proud about. As tonight we celebrate all things Barbados. Do you all like spooge music? By the way, we have something else coming up here. But do you all like spooge music? You know, think about that. Do you all like spooge music? So tonight we're celebrating all things Barbadian, and we are saying Happy Independence. Oh, go ahead, Dave. What do you have for us?
My brother, morning, man. What's up?
I late for work. That's what up.
But every morning I see you late all the time, man.
Man, look, this is the 4th time this week that I late, man.
Well, you don't work a 4-day week?
Exactly, man.
Oh, man.
Late, no, I might as well talk to you again, huh?
I just say for now, but why you be still late all the time, though?
My alarm clock don't wake me up.
No, buddy, you need to get the Bajan alarm app. Brand new, revolutionary, I'm telling you.
What?
Yes.
How does it work?
No, you see with the regular alarm on the cell phone, right? Is go beep, beep, beep. That don't wake you up, buddy. Or beep, beep, beep. That's traditional. With the Bajan alarm app, right? It got unique voices which are identifiable to you. You understand?
Oh.
Right? Voices that you could recognize.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I got this here and I could set it on something like child mother.
Well, I need more child money than this.
Yo, man.
Yeah. Check this one.
Yeah.
Check this one. Outside woman.
Here we're going on. Are you pregnant though?
Nice, boy.
Yes. The bedroom alarm app, buddy. This is working. You're gonna get work late in the morning. Try it and let me know how it goes, huh?
All right, man. Thanks.
My brother, you're early today, man.
Not just today. Every day this week.
Good. How is that new alarm working out for you?
Boy, this new bedroom alarm app working, boy. Let me tell you. Listen to this new one.
I used to be a man.
You like it?
That would wake up anybody. That would wake up anybody. Oh,
That's
dear,
rum
dear
and
me.
coke for you. Rum and coke.
Oh,
That's
my
them, and
goodness.
they travel to the US, to the UK, and they perform all over in Barbados and outside of Barbados. An excellent duo. If you need them to come and perform, just search for them online and you'll find all their details. That's rum and coke for you. Okay.
I come from an AQUIFERS, ladies. I can tell you why, because I come in the gymnasium tonight, get here earlier, correct, and I see, a whole set of ladies driving in and taking, looking good and everything. But in Barbados, we stop old men who can drive or women can't drive and all that kind of thing. And it come to some sort of truth here. I can see some women parking in the gymnasium here this evening, right? Now when a man drives, a man just come and park the car 1, 2, 3, that's the same. And when a woman drives, it's be a little different. Now when a man drives, this is how a man is driving a car. Yeah. That's how a man is parking car right easy. 1, 2, 3. But you see when a woman in a parking lot, I ain't gonna tell you the drama that's happening. Watch, man.
Oh, dear me.
Oh my
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness. Oh, boy, I tell you, I am not getting into that.
Okay, folks. I think Dave have one more thing for us. I see Mr. Franklin is right there. We have not seen him in this position in
donkey weeks and days. I'm telling you.
Dave, you have one
so
more
good,
for
so
us.
good.
Okay, so Dave has the last thing here for us, and then we go straight into Mr. Franklin.
But look where Barbados is today. Sing what we all of we is. One people, one nation, diverse religion, many complexions, but we all agree. We got one destiny. We must aspire with one desire and come together to lift the country higher. Then the world will see what Barbados means to me. All of the is one people, one nation. That's the way it will always be. Amen. Coming through the years with laughter and tears, we build a formidable foundation. Our leaders done well from top to front end, and it all started with free education. Take a look at this country, let's see how we build. We give them free honor and the freaking legendary. So let me journey symbolically holding hands. We are proud to be a Barbadian. All of the ends, one people, one nation, diverse religion, many complexions, but we all agree. We got one destiny. We must aspire with one desire.
Yes.
And come together to lift the country higher. Then the world will see what Barbados means to me.
Let me tell you, people, oh my goodness, this is a lovely one.
That's the way it will
Always be. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Where were you that night when this young lady won this Pick of the Crop finals? Oh my goodness, the 50th independence, and she's saying one people, one nation.
One nation,
You know?
yes.
Oh my goodness, this is awesome, and we are celebrating 58 years of independence here in Barbados. And tonight, folks, we have a national treasure. I'm calling him a national treasure. It was almost 2 years ago, Dr. Ferdinand, that Miss McLean, Maxine McLean, contacted me about, using my platform to broadcast what was happening with NIS. Almost 2 years ago, actually. And here we are today, and we're still going and dealing with national issues, the Marcia Week Show. And Mr. Franklin was the next person who said to me, Marcia, if you open up the platform, we will come on and we will talk about NIS. And I mean, it's been such a journey. And we look forward to listen to Mr. Franklin. And you all have been plaguing me, asking me, coming up with all kind of conspiracy theories.
Oh, dear
all kinds
me.
of different things, about Mr. Franklin. And
Oh, dear me.
Mr. Franklin is here with us tonight. And from all of our team, from all of us, Glenn Murray, Maxine McLean, Dr. Ferdinand Nichols, Kemar Stewart, from all Dave Weeks, our entire team, Rose Corbin, Nigel, who comes on sometimes. We want to say a big, and the viewers, of course,
And the loyal opposition.
with us.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So good to have you. Welcome. Great to have you back, Caswell. Missed you, man. Missed your face. You got to unmute. He's even forgotten how to unmute. Oh, there you go.
Oh, yes, good night, everyone. Good night, Marcia. Good night, Freddie. Good night to everyone. It's so good to be back here with you. I didn't intend to be back so soon because I have some issues that I was dealing with. I didn't do a lot of work, and so the work piled up on me. and it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. I swear that work breeds at night when I'm not there to watch them, you know. But it is all people who are being unfairly treated. Very few of them are people who were wrong. So a lot of people, when they recognize they're wrong, they don't come for representation, you know. It is the people who know that they've been unfair,
Yes.
mistreated, and at least they have that belief. They come and they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming. And you see, unlike me, unlike the lawyers and stuff, members of my unit don't pay. So they come and they get the same service as the person who would pay. So that is the attraction. Right. So I am here and I will be in intermittently but this one I had to call Marcia and said to her, look, I need to speak on this issue because it is not going away and it's getting worse. And I'm talking about the water, but I will come to the water after. I want to deal with the QH first because that place is now becoming a hellhole. You know,
you're talking about the QEH.
The QEH. So there's no respect for staff. There's no respect for patients. There's no respect for anybody's rights down there anymore. I'll give you some examples quickly. Recently, the government hired what they would only call an indenture servant. You know, they like to bring black people, take up black people and get white people to treat me badly. From slave days. So they brought a white man from England, like how they used to do in slave days, to come and to manage the black people here. And what I'm seeing, I do not like. Just recently, I'm told that instructions were given that fire them, and we will deal with the consequences after. And one day alone, 5 people got fired. And the thing is, some of these people that I know of were going through the disciplinary process. We're going to have meetings. Just stop the meetings to fire the people. The Employment Rights Act, so you got to do these meetings. But the hospital decided we ain't caring about the Employment Rights Act. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to fire them. And they and one that I was involved in, they did not come to the meeting. They every time the meeting come up, they had something that's going. So the delay of the meeting was not the accused person's fault. They were we were waiting for a long time, and they said taking too long, dismissed. You know, in the old days we had a situation in Barbados where the white people would say, "I would kick you and pay for you." That is when when you kick somebody, the assault was $10. The marshal would put $10 on somebody who kicked you. So the white people would say, I will kick you and pay for you because they only paid $10 before the court. So now the white people come back to kick us and pay for us again. Because there's no way that you can win a case if you don't do the right thing. Even if these people are guilty of what they were accused of. The court of appeal says that if you do not go through the procedure, that is the end of the matter. No question of fairness or unfairness will be entertained. So automatically now, these people are unfairly dismissed, whether the case against them was valid or not, simply because you did not follow the law. And when you have people who are bigger than the law in Barbados, we got problems. And these people who are bigger than the law came from outside of Barbados.
Right.
You know, we are asking people to come and mistreat our people and pay them to do it. So that's why I call it an indentureship rather than a contract. Because, you know, when they brought the indentured servants from England, some of them, they brought them on the plantations and they made them supervisors and overseers and stuff. And those were the people who beat the black people, you know.
Yes.
So now we brought one from England, and he is there running the show. And I'm going to tell you something. Our people are cowards. They don't like him, they don't want him, but they smile with him simply because he is the boss. And he's the fellow to get me fired. But he's not welcome at the hospital. As much smiles he will get.
You're for real?
I'm for real. This is the information that I received. Nobody likes him, you know. But you know, and they smile with you. But what happens with a shark? When you come and see a shark with his teeth skinning at you, he ain't smiling, you know. He's happy to eat you. So those people are smiling with him, but they're not happy with him.
Yeah.
So if he thinks that he is getting the good support that he's thinking, these are people who are afraid of the Motley administration, are afraid of what Motley can do or will do, so they cooperate. But they don't like it at all. They have the same sentiments that I have about bringing this white man from England to rule and mistreat black people. They have to. But they're not going to voice them. They're not going to voice them.
You know, Mr. Franklin, I'm saying, how come we don't hear the Pan-African movement or anybody saying it? Here's somebody from the hospital writing to me, and if I can read it for you, says, Marcia, can we speak on the dismissal of the QH workers tonight? They were at 7-something. They said the Labor Office has agreed it is wrongful dismissal at all costs. But I don't understand, if the Labor Office, Mr. Franklin, has agreed, how come it's happening? They said, agreeing with you, that they sent home 5 persons in 1 week and not following procedure at all. Labor Office agreed, yet he doesn't care, right? Wow.
The instruction is, we will dismiss them and deal with the consequences after. So that is the kick and pay. Like the old days when the white people, the kick can pay $10. Well, this time, sir, it's not going to be $10. The last person I got a settlement from the hospital was over $100,000, who got mistreated too. So I'm looking for a few more of those. You cannot come to Barbados and treat Barbadians badly, even though you might have the support of the administration. Because very shortly, that administration that does that to you will not get the support of the Barbadian people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't treat people like slaves. That is one aspect of it. I can deal with it. Right now, I have some other cases pending. I'm not going to discuss them. But I'm going to discuss one issue, and I spoke with a lady today. Those are the places I had hold. I spoke with her today, and she has given me permission to speak to you on the Marcia Week show about this. And I've made copious notes to make sure. This is a young lady. She's in her 40s. And she's employed as a staff nurse at the hospital. Remember that?
Yes, so she's a staff worker. She's a staff nurse.
Yes, right? She's employed at the hospital. She attended the clinic there because she was having some problems, and they misdiagnosed her. And they were supposed to perform a partial hysterectomy, but somehow the guy that was taking it out didn't see partial and take out the whole thing. So they took
out her whole womb?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Women, you're hearing that? She's supposed to have a partial hysterectomy, and they took out the whole womb at, how much is, she's 40, how much you said?
She's 46, 45, 46 on there.
46, yes. Go ahead, please.
No. You know, after you have the surgery done, they test the material that they take out to discover that there was no need to take it out.
You're joking.
I am not joking, Marcia. She had nothing in there was diseased. It was good, and she could have remained in there and she would have been healthy. So they made the wrong diagnosis.
But wait, no, this one here heavy. But we have to let this one sink in, Mr. Franklin, before you go any further. Are you hearing what Mr. Franklin is saying? At the hospital, the staff worker is 46. She's a nurse, and she decided to visit the clinic. She was having some challenges, and they're supposed to do a partial hysterectomy. They went in and made a mistake and take out the woman, the whole womb. And then to find out that there was nothing wrong with her?
No need for the partial or any removal of anything. None. There was nothing wrong with the womb, the uterus, or whatever people like to call it. There was nothing wrong with it. But it's out. Now they checked the thing, It was healthy. But that is not that is only the beginning, Marcia. So she you can't work. You're on sick leave. She's on sick leave now for over a year because it didn't happen in August 2023. And she continues to get pains. And so they had to go and do a CT scan.
Okay.
That CT scan revealed that the clip that they used, the surgical clip, was still there. They took out the woman, left a clip, a metal clip. That metal clip was left in there in August 2023. From then till now.
You're going too fast. I am still at, okay, so there was nothing wrong with the womb and they took out her entire womb. But while they were operating, they left the clip inside the woman?
Yes. A metal clip. She has been in agony since then till now. Because you would have thought that they would have gone and get back the clip. But they don't want it, they got too many, so they're leaving them in people. They left it in there. She is going through some horrendous medical problems because, and excruciating pain, because that clip is in there. And for a year, and then September, October, November, a year and 3 months, that clip is still in there. And nobody can get it out. Or nobody has sought to take it out. But that is even bad, but it gets worse. With all the medical issues that she has as a result of I'm not going to go through all of them because there are a lot. Somebody directed her to a lawyer to see if she can get some sort of assistance or whatever, and the lawyer contacted a private medical facility who can do the surgery and take out that clip.
Mm-hmm.
But the surgery cost $54,000. 54, 54 with 3 zeros behind it.
54,000 to take out the clip.
Yes.
Y'all following this what, this is not even a story. This is a real life experience. Everybody following? Continue, Mr. Franklin.
But it gets worse.
It can't get worse.
It gets worse. She has been on sick leave all this time while she's in this excruciating pain. Can't work. Because you can't work and then left patients and stuff with a metal clip inside you. It doesn't happen. So, having now been on sick leave for more than a year, the hospital sent her before a medical board to determine if she's fit to resume to continue to be in the service of the hospital. All they had to do is a clip, But they decide that she should go before a medical board to be declared medically unfit for work. And they have stopped paying her salary.
What?
And it gets worse. And they have said to her that we have overpaid you because they've only got there for a year, but some time will pass. And they said to her, now we overpay you by $10,000. We want it back.
Oh my God. Mr. Franklin, you check out. This is real?
This is real. I have the documentation in my hand. I will not put it up, but I have it. Even the reports from the hospital itself, I have them. So I challenge anybody to deny anything that I say. And this is almost a year now that I've been trying to get that clip removed. I've called everybody. My last resort was today, WhatsApping the Prime Minister, and she has not responded. So I decided, well, I get her permission to speak to it on this show tonight. I hope now that somebody will hear me. They know who it is. And get her in the surgery that she needs to live like a normal human being. She's in constant pain. And these are people, look, the jobs in the hospital are what people like to call the caring profession. but you don't care about one of your own. And that's the problem I have. And nobody is doing anything about it. She doesn't have, I don't know if she doesn't have the direct political strength or not, it will be done. Because I've spoken to political people too. I don't mind calling political people when they have a problem that is intractable and cannot get it solved through the normal procedures, especially in a life and death situation. Because eventually the thing can kill us, so you have to be careful, you know.
Mr. Franklin, I am just speechless. This woman is 46 years old, also a nurse at the hospital, and I mean, it's just like a series of unfortunate events, and now she's not even being paid. It's like she's been punished.
They're saying to her that they're trying to get you out of the public service as medically unfit. They made her medically unfit. They can fix it anytime that they want to. They had 1 year and 3 months to fix this problem. And you imagine leaving a metal clip inside the person's abdomen. It ain't hooked up on anything, so it moves around sometimes. You know, and there. I would have thought, I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything. I had a couple of operations in my time, hernia and something else. And I would have thought that if you go into a surgery, or go have surgery, you count 10 clips, 5 balls of cotton, a scalpel, whatever you got there. And when the surgery is finished, you count up to make sure you got them. And if you don't got them, you look back for them before you shut up the patient, because it might be in there. But look, nobody can tell me that doesn't make sense. I would make sure, even when I took change in my tire, I put the nuts on the ground and make sure I put the nuts there so I can get them back. So that I can know that I got 4 nuts. You know what I mean? So cut there. I never been to medical school, but I expect that's something that I should teach them. You have to count. You have to count. You have to count. If you had 4 clips, when you finish and you got 3, something wrong. And then when you go and do the CT scan, you say, oh, there's what is wrong. And then they're going to seek to take it out and apologize. Instead of apologizing for their error, they want to dismiss her from the service.
But you know, I'm here thinking, Miss McLean, calling you Miss McLean, yeah, Miss McLean, I'm calling you Miss McLean because you haven't been here so long, Mr. Franklin. But you know, I'm thinking, Mr. Franklin, that I can't see us treating a white person in Barbados like this. I can't see a white, and I hate to bring race in it, you know, because here we are talking about the white, slave master that they have up there now, running the hospital, and now, I mean, look at how we are treating each other. I can't see a white woman going through this kind of thing. You go to they told you that something is wrong with you, that something is wrong with your womb. You're supposed to get a partial hysterectomy. They made a mistake and they did a full hysterectomy, right? Later they found a clip inside of you. The clip is still inside of you for 1 year and 3 months. And now they're trying to declare you medically unfit. They've stopped paying you. And then they said, oh, by the way, we had overpaid you $10,000, right, Mr. Franklin, and we want it back.
Yeah.
The sick woman, you know, that needs now 54,000 Barbados dollars to get the clip out of her. So what is happening with this woman? What can be done for her?
Marsha, it gets worse. Light bill got the red notice. Water Authority given the notice. Loans, all these things are in the red. And rather than fix the problem, pay the lady her salary, they're saying to her, well, I can dismiss you. You get dismissed when you misbehave. She didn't misbehave. You get dismissed when you are negligent in performance of your duties. Her duty was to lay down there and get the surgery done. There was no negligence there. So whoever left it in there, they're responsible. I don't know why it is so hard for the doctors to go in there and take out that clip. They don't want it back. I don't understand. This is wrong. I didn't call the person's name because I don't want to cause any embarrassment or any kind of stuff, because there's so many other people. And there's so much malpractice going on at that hospital. Some even personal to me, but I will not discuss my own personal matters on this show, because I'm not fighting for myself here. But I have to deal with the issues. This poor lady, she's in pain. She was coming to my office there, and she had to divert to go and get an IV with morphine or something like that, because the pain was so much. And when you go and get morphine, the pain back. They got the clip. That's all you got to do. Until they start settling back down. Unfortunately, they can't put back in the womb, but then she should be compensated for the malpractice that was done to her. And I don't know, there's no question of who's to blame. It's only a question of when it will be determined. But right now she's suffering.
So, Miss, what is the procedure for someone who has experienced malpractice? Because people listening now, I'm here going through my head. I don't want to go to the QH. I'm like, I don't want to go up there, Mr. Franklin. Now, what's the procedure if someone is suffered, if that has happened to them, if they've suffered malpractice? What should they do?
Well, because the hospital has a system and they way you report it to clinical risk and they're doing investigation and stuff and they cover for each other in there, I will go to a doctor. A lawyer, sorry. I will go to a lawyer, and I will get my doctor to give some reports to my lawyer to deal with. Because the hospital is not fixing their own message. You know? It can't get worse now. One last thing about the hospital. I discovered some weeks ago that I called a sick out. No, when I do things, I take credit for them. I support the first people's right to get the money that they were asking for. Not Unity Workers Union that called the sick out. But the people who call it don't want to be identified because they still want to be Prime Minister. So they blame me. Not one of my members were involved, because my members know Unity's position on acting in emergency. When we had the nurses strike, we said, nurse, act in emergency and operating theater are wing fence. The nurses in those two areas will not be allowed to strike, and they continue. That has been our position from then till now. So when you have people staying home at the behest of other unions and want to blame me because they ain't got their man enough, or they're too afraid of the big chief, so they may take the responsibility for it, but they're because if you take industrial action without the backing of a union, it's tantamount to an offense for which you can be dismissed. So the union had to go and use my name. I only found that out when I went to a meeting at the hospital last week to be told that it was me. I found that for the first time.
And how many persons were off the job?
I don't know, because they're not my members. I don't know who they were or who they are. Nobody consulted me. But these cowards who want to sit down at the table and sit on and get the snacks and things after the meetings, they don't want to. They got to represent the members, but they don't want people to know that it is them. So they put it on my back. Now I can bear any load, but I'm not bearing yours. If you call industrial action or you approve industrial action, you should be man enough, woman enough, union enough to say it was my union that authorized this. But no, I'm here now that it is me. And you know, I'm surprised because I didn't know it was me. You know?
But somebody's saying here to keep contact the prime minister. But didn't you about about the case with the woman, this woman who all of these terrible things have happened to her at the QEH. What would the prime minister be able to do though?
The prime minister could do anything about it she likes, as you have seen. She could have fixed this matter or get fixed. And I WhatsApp all the information I gave to you to her. I have not had a response. And she can't be so busy not to deal with a person who is in this condition. She deals with other little things. She deals with when Rossi wanted to call off the police. She was there in a flash. He wasn't in any pain. And the police were not brutalizing him. They were just carrying their duty. So this is something that she should jump on immediately. She has done that previously. And I can tell you, when they had COVID in the prisons, and they did not give the prison officers, any place to lay down, any mattresses or any cots or any stuff, any sanitizers and stuff, I called her. And later on that same day, the supplies were in the prison. So she can act when she wants to act.
Right.
So that is what I think. I don't bother her a lot. But it is only when I think it's reached a point where it is unbearable that I say, let me call the prime minister because this isn't good enough. And I would WhatsApp her and she would respond. As a matter of fact, the day when she cussed Netanyahu and Putin and all kind of stuff, I thought I was proud of her because she got more guts than any prime minister we ever had in Barbados. Because the others weren't there. I saw myself cursing some people that day, how she did it. But I'm not a prime minister. So, but I couldn't help but admire her. I said, look, she really, she really got a lot of guts. And I wrote that to her. And within minutes she responded. Within minutes, Missy, I sent that to her. It went off at 2:01 the day, and at 2:24 she responded. Because I was proud of her. Now, my pride was notwithstanding the fact that if I were the prime minister, I can do it. But CASWELL Franklyn would have done it. I would have done it. So that's what I was proud.
But it's interesting though that this woman is in a crisis and she hasn't responded to that. And you're saying that this is something she probably could get fixed with one call.
One phone call. Pick up the phone, call Jerome Walker and say, get this thing done now. And it will be done. The only thing a prime minister can do in Barbados right now is say, let there be light, and there will be light. Because the man got the control over that. But everything else, right now, the only thing Parliament can do is make a man a woman a man. But now we have seen where people have been legislating where, so even that can be fixed. And we were heading that way. Hopefully it never happens. But please, for the love of God, help this woman. They know who she is. And if they don't know who she is, they just ask who does that stand before the medical board. Thursday coming is 3 weeks that they stand before the medical board to determine if she's fit to continue to work. She can't work because they left a clip in her. Take out the clip.
So, Mr. Franklyn, has she always been your union member?
No, she has not always been my union member. She contacted me last year when she was in crisis, and I made some queries and tried to get it done. And I was assured that it would be done. And then I didn't hear her. And I thought it was done until she called me again this year. This is a year now, that she's been battling with this thing.
Yeah. Somebody here saying that a couple years ago somebody killed their neighbor. Well, I guess this person has had a bad situation at QH as well. A lot of horror stories.
You know, but this negligence cannot be tolerated. You know, and the thing is, you are looking at other facilities, and they're rushing too, because if QH, the same doctors that work there, and they're doing the same thing. Like, I know of a situation now where a lady got electrocuted at work, and they sent her to a private medical facility. When you get electrocuted, right? They want to see if the muscle is breaking down, and you spit it out, right? You know, the doctor and check to see the woman pain, right? Woman go home and feeling worse, and when she come back next day or two after, the next doctor I saw said that the boy said, no, you're right, because that is basic. Even I knew that. So you check to see, and this is at Sam Lord's Castle, where the electrical thing ain't grounded properly, and three staff I know about so far, then turn on the thing and blast, and held them there. One fella had to jump up and give the girl a drop kick and knock you off the electricity, and not sure, but they died there.
Oh
and
my God!
That.
This is at the new Sam Lord's Castle.
Yes,
You're saying 3 workers got electrocuted up there?
At different occasions. One, if somebody got electrocuted, they might tell the boy nothing, so they just fix up things and left it. So next one coming the day or so later, bam, she get it too, and then sends her others, and then fix it. They can just fix it when somebody dies. You know, but the thing is, the point I was making is that these same doctors work on all these different. They work at the hospital, they work at these private medical places, and they behave the same way. They did not do basic tests. What I am going to do, because I have some respect to the owner and the work that these people do, I'm going to call the owner and I'm going to say to him, this is what has happened. Do something about it, even if you have to fire that doctor, because I don't believe that people should be so negligent and just walk away. And to do it again another day, they should suffer some sort of consequences, especially when you have some person's life in your hand. You know?
Well, you know, so somebody might say then, Mr. Franklin, because I saw comments saying then, well, probably that's why the new CEO is just firing people and getting rid of them. Is that linked to it?
Look, whether that is so or not, there is a law that says you must do A, B, and C. He is disrespecting our laws.
I see.
Now, if some person does something to be dismissed, I have no problem with that. I go to meetings and I say, look, this fella wrong. You know he wrong. He got children we're going to do, you're going to kill him. And I beg. Left me to do the begging. But don't go and dismiss before you hear the person, hear the explanation, because sometimes you might have done something unawares that you've done it, but no negligence or malice or nothing in it. It just happens that some of these things happen. And then you suffer. You just get dismissed without a chance. Our laws require you to get a hearing. You must be able to have a fair hearing before an impartial panel or whatever it is. That is what our laws require. But each person is entitled to natural justice. And you don't bring somebody from overseas and let them decide, well, I come from a country where natural justice is the thing. But no, these are little plebs and whatever we got down here, we ain't going to give them natural justice. We can treat them bad. I got a problem with that. If they're guilty and they're dismissed because they committed serious misconduct, I ain't got no problem with that. I would beg and hope that you might have a softer heart and don't do something, but that doesn't make you innocent. But you have to give them the hearing. And you don't say the hearing taking too long because the hearing is taking too long because you refuse to come to the hearing. Your own hearing, you call a hearing and then they come. When they say that you ain't got the some witness in there and all kind of stuff, the body overseas, and all, that is not our fault.
Correct.
So if you want to do that, you can fire the person. The person was there ready, willing, and able to be tried.
But Mr. Franklin, what about the Minister of Labor? What about what role do they play right now? Because if he's firing people left, right, and center, and he's not following the laws of Barbados, where does the Ministry of Labor come in?
The Ministry of Labor does not come in. You go to the Labor Department. And the Labor Department, basically there's a Ministry of Labor and there's a Labor Department, but there's a minister responsible. Mind you, I know what he does. He draws a salary every month. Other than that, I don't know of anything else that he's done for this as minister responsible for labor. Other than drawing a salary, I don't know what he does. The last thing he did was to go to Sandals and get a lot of people unfair. Because when Sandals decided that they were going to make people redundant and then hurt back people, because he jumped in and Tony Moore jumped in and started making noise. Mind you, not one of them was a member of Barbados Workers Union. But Tony Moore thought maybe if I go out there and start making noise for them, some of them will come and join. What she didn't know, because I have several members of staff at Sandals in my union. So some of them got made redundant. And they said to me, Mr. Franklin, we want to go there. This place bad. So don't represent us at all. So that's why you didn't hear me, because the people that represent, but I want the representation, we want the money, we want to get out. They didn't understand the situation, got my Sandals to make noise. And then gave Sandals the opportunity to fix the mistakes that they make. This is what happened. They then get the people to return, come back to work. Because if you give me a notice telling me you're making me redundant on the 10th of October, up to the 9th of October, you can change your mind. So that's what they did. And tell the people come back to work. But the people don't want to come back to work. One woman said to me, Mr. Franklin, what to do? I said, but you got to go back. She said, Mr. Franklin, I'm not going back. If it means I don't get in the servants there, I will live without it. I am not going back up there. Everything has changed in my life. My pressure come down. Everything. I ain't going back up there. They can keep the money. This is how bad it is. So then he, don't understand what's going on, went up there and get Sanders to take back people. And then if they want to go, get them a gratia payment. But no, what happens? If you made a person redundant, you cannot hire somebody in that same position for 6 months, or that person that got made redundant has now become unfair dismissal, and you can get compensation. You've got to give the person, if you're going to fill the job within 6 months, you're going to fill it with the body that did there, unless there's something serious that happening that you can't take them back. But then that's up for a trial. But when you tell the people, oh, come for the money, and you were saying here that you weren't there any matter against us, that's what Colin Jordan did to these workers, not knowing what he's doing. So those people know how to go up there and sign, because those who still want to leave, I know they can't come back. So the Sandals is now able to hire people immediately. They would have to have waited 6 months to fill those posts or face the tribunal. No, I was going to say that gray animal equine thing, but I can't call it on the show. Went and messed up those workers. He went up there and won't look good. He sound good. He went on the radio and he played pretending. And they pretend a lot. And those poor workers now are much worse because he intervened.
Wow. So he's not, he wouldn't be of much help to her. What about, somebody's asking here about her, this woman's representative? Where does she live? Who is her MP? Can we work through the MP? I'm trying to, to say, well, how can this situation be solved?
This is not a question for the MP, This is a question for the professionals, because the MPs could go up, but the MPs could do it, try to get Prime Minister to force somebody to do their job. But there is nowhere on God's earth where a doctor or any surgeon or whoever commit an error this grave and will not want to move to fix it. Only in Barbados.
Right.
And then that doctor will continue to operate on people with impunity, because they can do what they like and kill you and do whatever and get away with it, because we're in a mode of covering up. We cover up everything. Things happen, you kill somebody in the hospital and they've lost the file. They come out and they say to you, or she had a seizure. Now had a seizure, the body is dead because you didn't treat them. You didn't look at them. They don't know what you're talking about. Hospital, and they put you in a room and forget you in there. And then come back, oh, boy dead. And then they make up a story around it. And nobody deals with them.
Yeah.
The hospital is to cover. That is why it's not getting any better. If people suffer consequences for their actions, especially wrongful death of people.
Somebody here sent you a message, Mr. Franklin. Pardon me. She says a friend of mine had surgery 2 years ago, and they told her all was well. Fast forward to September 2023, and she had to visit the QEH again due to excruciating back pain, only to be asked why she didn't return to hospital for treatment, as the records show that she had stage 3 colon cancer. She was never told she had cancer. She was given a clean bill of health following the surgery. The young lady passed away in January of this year, 4 months following her diagnosis. So based on this, this viewer who wanted me to read this to you, this lady did the surgery, and they said she had a clean bill of health. And then they wanted to know why she didn't come back. And only to find out that the record said she had stage 3 colon cancer 2 years ago. So she didn't get any kind of help or anything. And now the lady has passed away 4 months ago. Another person in the comment section is saying that it's now 34 years that she has not gotten an autopsy report on her stillborn identical twin, but they could have done an autopsy report for Mr. John in days, the homeless man in days. But this person here, no autopsy report in 34 years.
Marcia, I was trying not to comment on that, but I will know that you mentioned it. They said it was natural causes. So we're going back to slavery. When the BA and then joined slavery and then it was natural.
Yes.
So that is how so that forget which era we're in. When the master beat you to death in the slave days, it was natural causes, and you went on to bury you, and that was the end of it. So it's coming back. We're coming full circle, because I don't believe the commissioner of police knew what a scrotum was or what a scrotum is, because he said the fellow's scrotum was swollen. Commissioner of police, scrotum means balls.
Yeah, he was kicked in his testicle.
Right? Yeah, I can't say testicles. You may not know that either. So I said it means balls. So when you kicked him and those were swollen, you cannot say it was natural. It is not natural to get kicked down there. They kick him in his stomach and thing and burst up inside there, and then because he was not treated at the hospital because of who he was a vagrant. So they didn't treat him to send him home with burst up guts. So when when your intestines, you beating somebody and intestines get ruptured and you don't get treated, you have all that fecal matter in there,
internal bleeding,
so you can get gangrene.
Yeah.
So how is gangrene natural?
Well, Mr. Franklin, what are we going to do about this? I'm getting someone here, Professor Marsha Hines, Myrie. She tell me she wants you to know this. This phone is hot, Mr. Franklin, because people are have been through a whole lot of things at the QH hospital. She says there is and has been a crisis, especially in the obstetrics and gynecology department at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Remember earlier in the year when we heard about a doctor selling Barbadian citizenship on the show, I said this issue needed a thorough investigation because it's bigger. Many of the doctors in obstetrics and gynecology have serious malpractice cases against them that are being suppressed or frustrated, which obviously your client there, Mr. Franklin, would have been, would have seen probably one of these doctors. She says, I know a woman in Barbados who has had an unhealed or open C-section wound for over 20 years.
What?
She got more relief in St. Vincent than she did in Barbados. Doctors are exchanging services for sex. It is a sordid mess. How are we going to treat our own black women like this, Mr. Franklin?
That's when you do not care. You don't have any heart. That's it. One of the reasons what you see me work so hard is that I see so much suffering. Every day I left my office last night around 7. Last night was Sunday night. I left after 7 because I was dealing with issues with unfair dismissal and mistreatment of people. I have a case that I got only last week where white people abuse the staff, but they don't abuse the white people inside the office. And I am going to file a case of racial discrimination against that firm.
This is I'm like this is so sad, and to see how our people are being treated when your medical when the hospital services within a country, when you can't depend on them. What do we do, Mr. Franklin? What are we supposed to do? Because nobody wants to go down to the QH. I mean, I saw the only case that I'm seeing here that is in the courts is the Prime Minister's brother. You remember that case? That case is being tried.
I remember that case. I remember that case well.
But is he the only one who died? Under alleged malpractice. Is he the only person? The Prime Minister's brother, the only person that this has happened to? What about all these other families? How come they don't have a day in court?
My niece who died a month ago.
I know you don't want to talk about that so much, and there's another lady who told me that a cousin of hers was, given a letter from a private institution to go for them to take care of there's an emergency, and they had her sitting there in the accident and emergency, Mr. Franklin, for hours, and when they went back to check on the woman died, and she had a letter. She literally had a letter from a private institution to take to the QH. One would think that would priority. My thing is, Mr. Franklin, we're looking at all these things. What is the solution? How do we help each other when our medical services are in this kind of state? What do we do?
I have no idea other than to punish the offenders. You just don't allow them to practice in Barbados, and if amongst the criminal behavior, take them before the courts. And because some of this is criminal negligence, and some of them should be struck off the register. I see they are fighting to strike a lawyer off the register. She's accused of carrying some money. She ain't carrying anybody's life. And they're fighting. We got people who kill people in Barbados, professors who kill people, and I ain't see nobody trying to get them off. I ain't see one soul.
But I know you said that it needs to go to a lawyer, but can we? I'm always about solutions. Where's the Minister of Health? What role do they play in this kind of thing? What recourse? We're paying taxes. We're paying taxes and we cannot go to the QH because we don't know if we're going to come home alive.
The Minister of Health, he's a doctor. He should understand. And I know him to be a caring doctor. So either the things are not getting to him, or he's getting old and he ain't bothering no. But something going wrong.
This is serious. When our social services are in decay. I know we want to switch to the JOBBY Water situation, but the stories are coming through, Mr. Franklin. You have touched a hot button tonight. Yes. Oh my goodness.
But Marcia, the other thing that is going through my mind is I've been listening to these stories one after the other, and the potential for engaging our legal system. Our legal system takes so long to get anything done, Marcia.
Deliberately so.
You're talking about, okay, let's say for argument's sake, the lady that talked about 34 years. She could well be, and from a personal standpoint, my son has been dealing with an accident since 2011. That is 13 years through the legal system. I won't call the name of the attorney who is supposed to be representing him and defending him. He was not at fault. He was not even in the equation, but his car was struck. He's resulted in sciatica. He now occasionally has to walk with a cane on occasions. He has pains in his back. And this is now 13 years through the legal system to get a resolution. So you can imagine that lady, 34 years, going now to a lawyer. That's 47 years. She could very well die and not get any legal satisfaction.
Let me tell you something now, Freddie. If the case has not been filed already, she will not get any, because that's a personal injury and you have 3 years statute of limitation for it. So if she has not had a lawyer to file that case against whoever did it, you haven't got the case,
Wow. So are we saying that we can't trust the doctors and then the lawyers? There's no recourse. What's going on? That's why I'm saying there has to be. We've got to. The citizens. I mean, we've got to think about how we're going to deal with the situation. You're telling me that we have an issue with our medical industry, and with them there is the lawyers that we're supposed to be able to go to. There's no recourse there as well, and we don't have anybody in government that we could go to. I don't understand.
But the question again, Marcia and Caswell, has, again, running through my mind. As you know, they're building a fabulous new facility at the Beckles Road. They're at the bottom of Beckles Road, the old diagnostic clinic area, Caswell. I'm pretty sure you would know about the building being done there. But you don't hear, I'm not saying they don't exist, but I'm saying that you don't hear of these types of cases coming from places like Sandy Crest. And if that is not the case, and again, Caswell, you can verify if that is so, what is Sandy Crest doing in terms of their operational processes that we can take a look at to see how we can change or improve or revolutionize the hospital? Because you ask about solutions, Marcia, but you're talking about administration. Caswell can tell us, where does the problem lie, Caswell? There are 3 areas I know of in the hospital, and you can again correct me. Well, more than 3 areas. There is maintenance, which would be like the engineering staff and so on, to keep the lights running, the ACs clean, the facilities clean, and so on. There would be the areas of things like those persons that clean the hospital. You know what I mean when I say clean the hospital, in maintaining the cleanliness of the hospital. Then you have the nurses, you have the doctors, you have the administration. Where does the problem lie, or where can we first deal with the root problem, Caswell, to see what we can do to to rectify things at the QEH?
Administration. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest problems you have in administration at the hospital are nurses who were promoted. They become some of the meanest monsters you could find. And I ask all the time, how can you be in a caring profession and then treat your own like this? That is where it breaks down. If you just go to the Ministry of Health and see all those senior people who are nurses and open promoted senior positions, and you will hear our stories. I remember the lady, Miss Waterman, who was the president of the Nurses Association at a meeting. She said, I was present at a meeting. She said, but you know, it's said that nurses eat their young. And I said, but you know, it's all well and good you said nurses eat their young, but somebody got to stop. But they got to get full time. That is the problem. And then people cover for them. I remember when we had the problem at Morris Bar Polyclinic. I went out there and I told the Belgian nurses, leave. You're not working in here. And a senior nurse came down from the Ministry of Health and told the Ghanaians, if you don't go in there and work, you're going back to Ghana. But then people don't want to go back to Ghana yet because they're making the Ghana licking here. So the Ghanaians with tears and eyes went back and work. Mind you, it was not good enough for the Belgian nurses to work in. And they acknowledged that. So when they tell them to go home, it was okay because the place was too strict. But it was not too strict for the Ghanaian nurses. And I wrote complaining for that nurse. And she quickly retired. So the PS wrote me and said, well, she retired, so I don't know what I can do. But I told them, if they don't do anything about it, I am going to work the government again. I don't know what the nurses here. I started that, probably put a little fear in them, and she went home quietly. But they treat people very badly. I think some of the worst people in Barbados in senior management level are senior nurses. But people who have been nurses and know they're going to the higher level. You can't get worse than them.
But no, the one way that, you know, CASWELL in the private sector, you know that when people don't perform, generally they get fired. And you will get replacements and so on for them. But the challenge, and you again can correct me, isn't the challenge at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital the fact that a lot of those nurses that would have been graduating up the scale to admin are unionized persons? Are they unionized?
Yes and no. But if you're in a unit that don't do unfair, come on, better be unionized. But it is not the union that protects them. It is their colleagues. We did the same batch at the Tertiary Centenary School of Nursing. So we are buddies. So if my buddy do something, you know, I talk about the older ones, and then eventually start going to event to then community college. But they were in the same group, they were in the same class, and that kind of stuff. And they can do no wrong. Treat people badly, and they cover for them. You have, for instance, I'll give you an example. We have a nurse whose husband is a policeman. He works shift, she works shift. So she asked to work at night so that the husband would be able to stay home during the day. They said no. Mind you, got people who want to work night. She want to work there, and they got people who want to work night. And they said, no, we ain't letting you. You know why? Because that person will get what they want. They will get the chance. And the thing is, they work harder at night. They work harder because I remember being in the hospital, and I'll never forget this lady. Her name is Marcia Hines. I don't mind calling her name. She was a sister. She was the only nurse that turned up for the ward. I was on. I had kidney stones. Man, every time I heard, she was there. And then next thing, somebody in the bed below me, she was there too. At the end of the next morning, she, you know, nobody forget her work during night. She had one, and she was still smiling. Those nurses are no more. You don't see them. Very few and far between. But I would never forget that lady. So I tell her she name Marcia Hines. She's retired now. But I tell her, I was trying not to crowd in pain because I felt for her. Because the ward is full of people in pain. And she was the only body there that night. And she, like a Trojan man, and that morning when she'd been relieved, she was smiling.
Wow. This is, I mean, those people who are, they have money, they can fly on their jet, and they're out of here and they're in Miami getting help. Somebody's just written here to me, and they said, Marcia, this country is being destroyed so that it can be rebuilt for the selected few. And Mr. Franklin, sometimes it might sound like conspiracy theory, but sometimes I wonder, because
sometimes I say that.
You say that too. She says it's called organized chaos, Mr. Franklin.
Yeah.
The mainstay of any country's health, education, sanitation, water, infrastructure, and all is being destroyed. Because I know you're going to talk about water. So it would seem like, as I said, people are going to say, you guys, gone into conspiracy theory. And she says, this is just a repeat of what I said previously. Privatization of healthcare. That's where they're going. They're destroying it so that it can be rebuilt, but her thinking is that it's going to be privatized. What are your thoughts about that?
Everything in Barbados is being privatized. That is the problem, because we are supposed to be a socialist state where the rich will take care of the poor. And the government is the intervener in there that will get the money from the rich and make sure the poor is taken care of. That's how it's always worked. Now you're seeing where the rich are paying less taxes and the poor are paying more. Right? And all the taxes that you pay. Remember, taxes were, when I was a boy growing up, taxes were for roads, health, sanitation, education. That's what the basis of our taxes were for.
Right.
And salaries, of course. Don't forget that part. To pay the people who are doing these things. Now you have health levy, but you were already getting the original tax. Health was supposed to be taken care of in there. Right? Roads, water, those things were supposed to be part of what your taxes were paid for. Now you're paying more taxes and then levies to fit these things. So where is the money going?
And getting less services.
They're getting less services. I tell you, when I want to go to, for instance, when I want to go to Richmond Hall, I go up and go through Jack in the Box Gully and skip and miss the road from Leicester Vaughan all through Bridgefield. And that road has been so for several years. I've been hearing every so often that it's going to be fixed, it's going to be fixed, it's going to be fixed. Nothing happens. And then we bring a lot of people into the public service. Right now, I understand there's a bill before the House tomorrow to corporatize corporate affairs. There's absolutely no need for that. What they're doing is to get their hands on the jobs for their friends. And the poor people down there don't understand what's going on. And they're going to end up in a mess simply because of how the politicians operate, because they bring their friends and put them in a job. And not necessarily people who know what they're doing. They just have to be somebody's friend. I'll give an example right now. I spoke to this on the show already. It turns out that whenever there were vacancies for marshals in the registration department, that those marshals, after all the interviews for all people about the country and stuff, that the people in St. Joseph had this great thing about being marshals, that they were fast getting jobs. Don't care what interviews they do, they were getting the jobs. But of course, nobody spoke to that. They then diversifying. Yeah, got other people's jobs and bringing criminals into the system. You got people who are deported as marshals now from overseas. You got people who had marshals before the court and had no marshals because they just pick up their friends and hoodlum and put them before the court. And put them as marshals. And nobody's doing anything about it. You'll be surprised. I first see some of these marshals carry around my house and lock the door because there's no old thief there. You know? They're not, and the thing is, the people who are supposed to be professionals, employing the people in public service, like the Ministry of Public Service, and they call them PRC now, they don't get a chance. The ministers put in the people. And so, but it's easier at statutory board. You don't go through the skullduggery. You just call the chairman and said, my man coming. And that's what it's all about. Jobs for your friends.
Wow. So we're dealing with as somebody saying here, water, education, health, and we want to get onto the water, but the phone going, Mr. Franklin. Another one wants me to tell you that they lost their grand at 16 months, 14 years ago due to negligence at birth. So people, there are lots of Barbadians who are hurting, from what they have experienced at the QEH. And I'm hoping that our leaders are listening because they watch the show. I know they watch the show. Come on, man. Let us put the whatever party we are, whatever it is, put that aside and let us take care of our Barbadian people. This is not about party. Person says I'm a patient at the cardiology clinic, and you have to wait 8 to 9 months to get some tests done. That's your heart. What do they want to kill us all? It's not just the prime minister's brother that the allegation about negligence and all of that. There are lots of families who are going through this right now, and those who are listening, I'm about solution. My thing is, what are we going to do? Those of you from the government, you're watching the show. What do we do about the hospital situation? What do we do about our health care? How can we help our Barbadian people? That's what it's all about.
Myself, what I don't want to do is to pull it down because the only one we got. But sometimes there's the phoenix, you got to pull down. When the phoenix dies, the ashes burn and a new phoenix arises. Something has to happen, even on the same structure, but a phoenix has to emerge from this thing. And because I took over a year before I come public with this thing, with this lady,
Yes.
I didn't just get vexed yesterday and come into it. Because it was ongoing and she's deteriorating. I don't want to tell you the condition that she's found herself in. It doesn't make good listening to it. It hurts me, And so over last year, I'm aware of this and I'm trying to get it fixed. Can't get fixed. So the only place I think I can get fixed now is on this show where they were here and there was, let me do something about it because we don't want this bad press. So I'm trying to embarrass them into behaving and doing the right thing. That's why I'm here tonight.
And they listen, and really, this, everybody should put their hands and hearts together. Dr. Ferdinand, this is a crisis. The QAH is in a crisis. I remember a Bajan who came back home because they're talking about we gathering, and they're gathering all these people here. But there was a Bajan who came back and said that she went to the QEH and she called it a living hell at the QEH. So when we're doing this, we gathering and the diaspora is they're coming here. Where are they going to go if something happens to them? Do we have the social services to deal with all of this? We want to bring 80,000 more people inside of here. Where is the hospital? That's basic, Mr. Franklin.
Yeah, they want to bring 80,000 people. You ain't got no water for them. Some makes you see politicians got to stop talking and think first. Engage the brain and then the mouth. But we've had the reverse.
Let me help you there, Caswell, because I used it already for tonight. Be sure brain is engaged before putting mouth into gear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. We have a lot of talk. And I have to be brutally frank, politicians, period, have a lot of talk, but it is the implementation, the processes that are required in order to get things done. As you know, Caswell, I've been commuting between here and Grand Cayman for some time now, and Grand Cayman has a fabulous health facility going toward the east of the country, called Health City. I think it's managed and run by Indian doctors. They have an entire Indian medical staff that comes in and so on. There's still the general hospital in Georgetown. There's still the general hospital there, but there's this massive health facility as you go east. And I'm just wondering, if we are not coming to the stage where we need to have a second, and I'm not talking about a facility like what is being built in Beckles Road, down by the diagnostic. I'm talking about a hospital. Maybe we need to be looking at getting a second hospital in Barbados, privately probably owned, but with a facilitation to treat a certain degree of locals free of cost. I'm just wondering if something like that wouldn't be necessary to begin a new era of health in Barbados.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
What also happen? You got to start paying the nurses. Nurses are paid when they start their service as the same level as a senior clerk, somebody with 4 levels and been in the service long. But a nurse has to go and do a 4-year bachelor's degree at community college. No, I can testify that starting salary for a nurse with a bachelor's degree in New York is $98,000 a year. That is nowhere near what a nurse gets in Barbados.
It's a similar thing in Cayman. Similar thing.
So when the nurses get trained in Barbados, they leave. So their thing now is to bond them. No, the thing is to pay them and pay them what they deserve. The only people who deserve more money are politicians. Look, we have a situation now where we got ministers getting, first of all, there should only be one minister in a ministry. That's in the Constitution. And if that minister needs help, he gets a parliamentary secretary, but a parliamentary secretary gets less salary. So they make him a minister. Get all in the same salary. And then when I wasn't bad enough, the prime minister created all these senior ministers and said that they're supervising. You know, the person who supervises ministers are the prime minister. So she has paid some people to do her job while she's gallivanting across the road, attacking Putin and Netanyahu and all those other people.
Yeah. You know, one more thing, because we have to go to the water situation. So many things. I know I advertised. We wanted to look at Dr. Crystal Drake's, on her speech or response in the Senate. I advertised it, but this is something that we didn't have on the program. But this is humanity.
It's serious.
This is serious.
This is very, very
this
serious.
This person wrote here, Mr. Franklin. Says my 84-year-old mom had a stroke about 10:30 a.m. on Thursday, November 7th. Think about it. She's 84. Thursday, November 7th. I never saw a doctor until the Saturday around 2:30. Oh, you could have a stroke. My God, on Thursday, and you don't see a doctor until Saturday. Is killed. They want to kill us off so badly. She said she got no treatment and died on the 15th because of neglect at the QEH.
But you know, you need treatment for a stroke very early in order to get recovery. You know, they always tell you, you know, when the signs of a stroke, they rush you. The treatment, heart attack, asthma, stroke. Those are things that get immediate attention. You don't take some person with a heart attack and put them in a room and let them for 2 hours, then come back and say, oh, we're sorry, but they had a seizure. They had a seizure, they had a heart attack, and they died. And they will cover it up and rely on the notes.
But Caswell, I can speak of 2 instances from a personal standpoint. I'm not going to call names, but a very good friend of mine who I worked for many years ago went into the hospital to have a pacemaker battery changed and died in the hospital of pneumonia. The second one I have is a current situation with a young man from our ministry that the hospital diagnosed with prostate cancer spreading to his bones. They did some scans or whatever they do. And he came to me and he was speaking with me because we had made contacts with several doctors overseas previously, and we had been in contact with them. And one of the doctors overseas spoke of Dr. Emptage. I'm sure you're familiar with the Dr. Emptage on the island. and advised him to visit Dr. Emtich, who he had tremendous respect for from a cancer position. The young man went to Dr. Emtich, Caswell, only to discover, Caswell, he does not have prostate cancer. They said the cancer had spread to the bones. The Dr. Emtich sent him for a couple of tests. Look at the report. He said there's no way with the particular tests that they claimed that they did that would have shown spread of cancer to the bones, that it could have shown that. Furthermore, his blood samples and blood tests and so on all came back negative. Everything has come back negative. And yet the QEH was getting ready to, as a matter of fact, he was advised that he might have to travel overseas. And you know, from the time we talk about that, you're talking thousands of dollars in order to receive treatment. And Dr. Emtich has just indicated there's a mass he has somewhere in his chest which he's looking at, but he has no prostate cancer. He has no cancer spreading in his system, in his bones, nothing of the sort. Could you imagine? And to be honest with you, I remember another personal situation, my dad, who took in ill, went to the QEH. Dr. Haynes was his doctor at the time, Richie Haynes. And Richie went into the hospital the following morning. And whatever they were doing, he was furious. He said to the nurses in there, he said, "You all want to kill this man? You're treating him for a heart attack, and all he has is pneumonia." So you know, this is something that seems to have been prevalent and present in the hospitals. I don't know if you call it misdiagnosis or false diagnosis or what, or treatment, but I think it's very, very serious because it comes to the
Bernie,
case.
I'll leave you with this one because I want to get to the water. A number of years ago, my sister-in-law called me and told me that she wanted me to help this friend of hers. So I said, "I'll give her my number." He didn't call, so she called back to say, "Well, his phone is on soft touch and he can't call me, so if I can call him." So I called and I said who he was and how he was able to, why he was calling him. I said, what can I do for you? He said, "Skipper, I don't know what to tell you. I went to the hospital with an appendix, and when I woke up, my foot was off."
What?
They take off the foot, man. You know, and the guy was a 42-year-old painter. You know, he can't come a lot of painting more buildings anymore. I referred it to a lawyer, and he got one of his. He was traveling, and he got one of his juniors to take it. And the poor girl, the young lawyer, sit there and cry. It was amazing. He went to the doctor. The doctor gave him a note to take to the hospital. Send him to the hospital. Tell him that you having appendix, and they took off the mouth foot. Believe you me. Water.
Oh, yeah, this is sad. It is sad. So many things coming in. I would just say about the elderly. They are like they just want the elderly to, appears to me, based on what I'm seeing in my phone here. They're not caring for the same elder abuse that happened outside. Seem like it happened in the hospital. But let's look at another service that is falling apart in Barbados. So we talk about the health service. Now let's talk about water. We're talking about basic things here. So over to you, Mr. Franklin.
You know, I have this thing about these trucks that pass my house and drop off stuff. This is the Environmental Protection Department right into the Barbados Water Authority. The letter is dated the 25th of October 2024. But the truck passed it a couple of weeks ago, and I was contemplating this thing. But when I see this mad rush the last couple of days to convince us about this JOBBY Water again, I had to speak. Because they're not managing what we got currently. Let me read the first paragraph of this letter for you. Well, the first two paragraphs. It says here, it's addressed to the Darmanja Barbados Water Authority, Pine Commercial Estate, Pine St. Michael. Public supply wells. Exceedances of World Health Organization guidelines for drinking water quality. There, sir, routine monitoring under the groundwater monitoring program has shown that for the period 1st May 2023 to 31st March 2024, there were 33 instances where 4 of the adopted World Health Organization guidelines for drinking water quality were exceeded at public supply sources. These exceedances were observed at Carrington PS, public supply, I suppose, not permanent secretary, Rim PS, Constant PS, Waterford PS, Bormanston PS, Bell PS, Villa Marie PS, Allendale PS, Groves PS, Ben Hill PS, Newmarket PS, and Ashton Hall PS wells, public supply wells. Also note that there were 14 instances where residual chlorine levels at Bormanston PS, public supply, Allendale PS, Constant PS, Villa Marie, and Newmarket were below 0.2 milligrams per liter. Further details of these exceedances and areas of concern are presented in the table 1 below. And they gave you, for instance, chloride. Chloride is not necessarily not chlorine. Chlorine, you put chlorine in the water. And I did a little bit of checking today. The chloride level is supposed to be no more than, like chloride, sodium chloride, salt, mostly. No more than 250 milligrams per liter.
Okay.
At 2 of those was Villa Marie and Ashton Hall. Villa Marie was 421 milligrams as opposed to 250. And Ashton Hall was 272, slightly above what it should be. That means that the wells were being overpumped and seawater was getting into the well. At which point they should close the well off and stop pumping from there and let the well recharge. But now these people are talking about recharging the aquifer with these treated water. I know they're saying, oh, it's not only for agriculture, but how do you know where the water is going to go when you put it in the ground? You are taking water that has feces in it. You are treating it to an extent where it can be used for farming. But then you are going to put it in the aquifer, which is already on top of the surface. Find something, build a tank, do something to keep that water rather than put it in the underground supply. Because you are now taking that dirty water and mix it with good one at the bottom. I don't understand, because when David Eswick was minister responsible for water resources, he had proposed to build, I think it was 3 desalination plants. This administration came in and scuttled that idea, because you can see that we need the desalination plant because we were getting salt water from the wells.
Right.
So David Eswick was either prophetic or he knew he was talking about. I don't know. But because the idea came from David Eswick, we had to come up with something different. And we go around the world and let people tell us to do this JOBBY water treatment and put it in the aquifer. And now they have been exposed. They're saying, Dr. George said that it will be used for farming and it will be put in the aquifers that they don't use for drinking. We don't know that.
No.
Simply because I can tell you why. Years ago, there was a problem with infiltration from people's toilet into Harrison's Cave. And they went as far from Harrison's Cave over to Carrington Village, St. Thomas. Carrington Village, St. Thomas is the village north of Fletchman Hall Gully. And they put dye packs in people's toilets, flushed them, and after a while, the water from the dye packs ended up in Harrison's Cave. So you don't know the terrain underground where that water will flow. Water from Harrison's Cave will end up in the sea. So you don't know where that water is going. So don't tell me that is not used. But let me go further, because that little bit of thing that they got there, that they cut off the truck. You are building out a hospital in the Bell, right? Let me go here, and that's what they call here, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. This thing should be 0. Fecal coliform. They say CFU. I have that there to say it for you. For but that point should be 0 for 100 liters, and it should be 0. But in the Bell, the well-call constant in the Bell, it is at 214. Meaning, when you hear fecal, you know, I'm not saying fecal, meaning baby. I'm saying fecal, meaning what comes at the other end.
Fecal, F-E-C-A-L.
Yes. And that, so water, you are actually pumping the water with 214, what do you call it? CFU.
Parts per million?
I'm going to get the exact thing for you. I don't want to. CFU is colony forming units. And colony forming units, the result of E. coli may be reported as either colony forming unit, CFU, or the most probable number, whatever that is. But, so
explain that to us.
You're talking about E. coli. E. coli is the bacteria
E. coli. Okay.
that you have in the, it says CFU per 100 milliliters means colony forming units per 100 milliliters. The results for E. coli may be reported as either colony forming unit, CFU. So when you report on E. coli, it is colony forming units. They don't call it E. coli. That's what Google told me. I don't know much about these things. I just checked Google. Right? So you have the one for, you see I got to shift one because the screen is big enough to hold all that stuff. But a lot of these wells around Barbados have fecal streptococci CFU per 1,000, and we got one that should be 0, and here it says constant to the bell that's 214. Well, when the person was explaining it to me, I said, "Oh Lord, but that means the water should be cloudy by then." You know what I mean? Because we got so much feces in it, it should show to the naked eye. And Villa Marie, West Coast, the sampling date was the 19th of September 2023, and they had 262. This is chloride rather.
Chloride.
This is salt. This is more than you should have.
Because it's supposed to be 250 milligrams, right?
Yeah, right. So we are getting, and most of these things that I have here with the chloride, 254, 257, 395, 359, 259, 262, 361, 294, 295. They are mostly from West Coast areas. Let me see it's coming in.
Right.
This is where the Jobby water will go to replenish those wells. Because
Well,
those
Mr.
wells,
Franklin, if I could say something here quickly, just to confirm what you're saying, we had Mr. help me, Dr. Ferdinand, he was on here, the engineer, and he was showing us how no, not Grenville, the other one. John
Oh
Knox.
gosh,
John Knox.
yes.
And he showed us by a picture, Mr. Franklin, how the seawater is seeping in. He was showing us by a picture. So I'm just confirming what you're saying. Go ahead. Mr. John Knox.
for instance, now in the Bell, the catchment area is the Bell, and this Bell is the Bell as well. The 5th of September 2023. And we have now nitrate is 9.1. The maximum, it must be less than 45 milligrams per liter. This is 4.5, sorry, and this is 9.1. So it is almost double. And they said that when you get that is where you get the blue baby syndrome. Nitrate. This is not honest tinkering with our system by the government. They took a lot of these zone 1 areas out and called them zone B, and I said that you can have activities in there, but around a lot of these areas, better than going to low housing, we have water catchment areas, and water catchment areas are not sealed off by the Almighty. They're underground streams where this water flow. So I beseeching this government not to put any of that treated sewage water back into the ground, because they're gonna make people sick. And if they can't manage, like for instance here, this letter that I read to you, where they said that they were not even putting enough chlorine in the water. Well, if you can't get it right now, you think you can get it right when you put all that Jobby water into the system that we have? I do not understand. And the chief medical officer is saying, it's quoted in the Nation of the 23rd of November as saying that the reused water will not be for drinking. How does he know that? You put it on the surface, it seeps into the ground. You don't know where it will end up.
But Mr. Franklin, this is contrary to what was said earlier. Remember, we did a show on this with Kimar and myself, you and Kimar, and they were advocating for this water than saying that they can treat it. Remember, Mr. Franklin, and we could drink it. So how come now they're saying that it's not for drinking? What are they? Are we talking about the same thing here? Because I remember they were saying that, oh, but it can be, you can drink it. You can drink the Jobby water if it is treated. That is what they were, so how come now they're saying that it's gonna go underground, but it will just be for plants, and we don't have to drink it.
They are trying to make excuses. They are lying to the people of this country. And when are you going to wake up, Barbados, to realize that these people are using us as guinea pigs? Because this did not come out of anybody's head in Barbados. This is when they went on these conferences, about these meetings over in the Netherlands, where they took the truck driver, retired truck driver as a consultant. So you really know they're serious. Then you can take a truck driver to consult. You know that they went on there they went for a trip and got their instructions to come back. So we are going to be experimented on again, like we were experimented on again during COVID, when we were the first person to take that job out of India, the first persons in the world to receive that job from India. Not even the Indians that were falling on, they let them use it. To try this out first to see how it would work on us.
That's right.
You know, so we have to be.
Thank you, God.
Be very aware of what is going on and do and try to tell these people stop. Make sure, but you see, business take what this government says as gospel. But I know that gospel might not be written in the same Bible that I read, because they have turned out to be untruthful too many occasions. So when they're sending the chief medical officer to say it will not be used for drinking purposes, how does he know that? When you put it on top of the service and it leaks into the aquifer, how do you know it's not going to seep into one of the aquifers that we can drink from? And how do you know?
That's precisely the question.
Do you know? And have you gone underground and mapped where the water flows?
Exactly.
To know where it will end up, because the land might be sloping on the surface from east to west, but under the surface might be sloping west to east. You don't know. It's a big guess. Being underground penetrating radar to tell you where you put things down there, so where you can find under there. You haven't been able to do any X-ray of Barbados to see if how under there looks. It's a guess, and you should not compromise the drinking water. I am afraid to drink it. Honestly, I'm afraid to drink it. I bathe in it, and that's all. But we will see people say, well, the government says. If the government says it's true, but it's necessarily true. This memo that I have here is, I've never seen one like it before. I don't know if it's a regular occurrence, but the Environmental Protection Department was moved to tell the Almighty Barbados Water Authority, this far, no further. You can't do this. And they want explanation.
So you're saying the Environmental Protection Unit is speaking up about it?
And it's asking the authority for any relevant information which may give insight into these accidences to the Environmental Protection Department by November 29th. And the thing gets a bit faddy here. I have to go back to the
how can we get that? Can we get somebody from the Environmental Authority on the show?
No, they're not want their civil servants. They can't come.
They can't come. Because we need to like that document. Is it something that we can show, like how we do with the bills, and educate the people, break it down?
No. They say this one, it has some markings on it and stuff. Like if it gets out, you will know which truck.
Okay, which truck it fell from.
Yeah, so
I understand.
I have to keep it close to my chest. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tear it up. So if they break my house tomorrow, they're not going to find it. It's going to be in very small pieces and in the garbage by tonight. If they want to go to my garbage,
what you should do what you should do is to take some pictures of it and upload them to the cloud.
Unfortunately, I've been targeted. My email address have been hacked for the union 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I am not. So each time we recover it, but the people are going to hack it. That's 3 times in the last 2 weeks. So I ain't trusting the cloud. I ain't trusting anything. I turn it up.
So because why I'm saying that, Mr. Franklin, is that how things, in terms of people understanding things, it needs repetition. It needs breaking down. It needs, because I'm trying to make notes and I still couldn't make all the notes. So I find that when Barbadians understand, then they can react properly. And I don't think that. I think we need to do something else in terms of, breaking it down.
Now, what we need to do is to be basic and tell people, look, they got JOBBY in the water and I want us to drink it. and they want to put it in the aquifer. The aquifer is like somebody might not understand what aquifer is. Aquifer is the rock under the ground where it holds the water. That's basically what aquifer is. The rock that holds the water under there. Unless the commissioner of police who don't know what a scrotum was, if you don't know what an aquifer is, it's just where the water collects in the rock, and you're going to pump dirty water into the clean water in the aquifer.
That's bottom line. So, Mr. Franklyn, what's the objective of government in this matter? Let's break it down. What do you think is the main objective of government?
The objective of government is to get recognition from overseas. We're nice people. We get some money from them. Whatever we got just today, we get $1 billion it was in loans. So when you go and you allow people to experiment on Barbados, you get easy loans. You get them easy. Not that they necessarily have to. You ain't gonna pay them back. But by that time, you got a sick country and a hospital that can't handle the illness that we got now. So what will happen? White people will leave wherever they come from and buy lots of Barbados and then live happily ever after down here because they ain't got the black building now to live in it. They kill us all out. They tried it with the job. Now they're trying it with the water. And if you don't believe me, go to your neighbor and say that your daughter that died, she had a job, and you will hear yes. Hearts all over the place. I know they're coming here, no one to want. Let's leave the water. Do not go in there and get the system where you're going to change these zone areas because a politician decided this should happen. Politicians don't have to know anything, and generally they don't. And then they will come and argue nonsense. And people, because they are so politically blind and they only see red, that they will curse me. I'm going to get cursed tomorrow, you know. Like I care. I felt it my duty. That is why I'm here tonight, because tonight I wanted to write some more letters. Because I'm writing letters every day now, trying to get a lot of these things resolved. But I have to take time out because this is too important. They're rushing now to get these people. And some of the people who are managing it, we have one person who is the deputy in the environmental affairs, Chapman, who owns a business that is doing what the Ministry of Health is doing too. He has argon place, and this for treating rodents and termites or whatever he treats during the middle of the day when he's supposed to be at work. So the government knows this, everybody knows this, so he can go and run his own business. He has staff, he has vehicles, he has everything, and he's running the government department. So he's one of the people here that can speak what the politicians want. Because you leave me alone, and they can leave you alone. I challenge them to say that what I'm saying is a lie. Because I have him before the tribunal in a matter for dismissing one of his workers, not public sector employee, one of his private sector workers. He owns the company. And they do. I remember I was representing a lady and they wanted to move her because she complained that the chemicals for killing these bugs and vermin and stuff going missing. And their solution was to move her. I said, you ain't going nowhere. Like she retired and she still remained up to retirement. You see? So we have dirty politicians and dirty senior civil servants, and they collaborate. And that is where that's where the problem comes. We need, I said, amend the constitution, all kind of stuff, and put them in the civil code and all kind of crap. Unless you lock up a few of them, I don't care how much code you got. Because this is misconduct in public office. You don't need a statute for it. You don't need to put any constitution. It already exists. It's part of the common law. You need to start locking up some people. We got too much corruption. Look at Bra. You have people like Bra who they know to be crooks. A guy who got a mansion worth $7 million, paying $200 in taxes when the year comes. I disclose it what they do. You went home on vacation for a couple days and come back and get a little promotion. All right, the whole place is rotted to the core. So, and it is politicians. Every time you look, how somebody get a job, politician get them, and from their constituency. Right now, every time I hire somebody at the Barbados, they call it Transport Authority, they come from after holders constituency. Why his wife is the director there? You know, all kind of corruption going on, and nothing is being done about it. It is known, and the senior politics, civil servants who are responsible for discipline can't touch them. But they can go and touch Pedro Shepherd and Alden Bob days after they're running the campaign. And we've got people who've been committing offenses and breaking the law and carrying government property for years, known to politicians. And they have done nothing to them. This country is one mess of corruption. And you think that going down West Coast, East Coast, and get a plate for the macaroni pie and greasy chicken and no salad, that is governance. But people love it. People love it.
So I'm here thinking, I mean, I'm wondering if we're not seeing that our social services, you know, that it's all in a muck. We are in a crisis.
Right now,
yeah,
there is a move afoot to amalgamate the social services and put them under one politician again. When my union has significant membership in one of the departments that they want to amalgamate. So I'm included in the discussions. I just say was until I objected. Because here we have a situation where they can tell you, we are going to amalgamate. We're not going to say what we're going to amalgamate, but we want you to sign off. And so far, 2 units have signed off, have agreed to this entity that has not been defined yet. We did not.
So this is one of those entities like, is this a move towards privatization?
But it is a move toward a statutory board, which is almost a privatization, because you're going to take the services and put them in the hands of the politicians, because politicians should not be responsible for jobs. But there are statutory boards, because they put a board there, and the board make sure the politicians get the jobs. And you don't necessarily get the best people. You get the best the politicians want. I always talk about this on this show. Where in the Housing Corporation, you had a man who, the mayor, spent a long time up there, and he left with, the only thing he left with was an empty lunchbox. And he became a general manager of the Statutory Corporation. People after him want master's degrees, but he ain't had a pitman. Well, people don't know what pitman is now. Pitman was like they do typing and stuff. Pitman, you had a city and guilds, you had nothing. He was a general manager. And nobody's trying to fix it because it suits the politicians' purposes.
Wow. So they are trying to put all the social services under one umbrella. And what I remembered, I learned very well on the show. I knew right away that they will have a statutory board and where it's going to end up. You know, wow.
It's going to end up in the hands of a minister. You know, like national insurance.
Correct.
National insurance staff from inception were civil servants. National insurance always had a board, mind you. So when they're talking about they're going to make it a board, it was already a board. But a man of the caliber of person who could become Chief Justice did not understand that. Or didn't want to understand it because...
Didn't want to understand it.
If he could become Chief Justice, he should know that it was already a board, but he fought to make it a board. All he did was to fight to make sure that the staff now is under the control of the board, and the minister is responsible for the board, so that he will decide who become the people up there. And in order to bribe them, they gave them salaries. I know of one friend of mine who went to school with me. He had put in his retirement papers. And when he saw that his job going to go up by no more work, just in order to bribe them over, they get his job, and he's at the lower level. He's not really senior management like that. He got $2,000 a month more on his salary. Managers get $6,000 on their salary and all kind of stuff out of the National Insurance Fund. And at the same time, they are trying to cut back on the amount of money you receive in benefits while making sure that they bribe the staff with National Insurance Funds. Because in the public service, at certain levels, you get the same salaries throughout that level. Not National Insurance anymore, because people who do clerical work at National Insurance get far more money than the people who do clerical work now in the public service. So you can take the people's money and use it to bribe people to get what you want. And that's the problem I have with National Insurance. Is even worse, because it is your money that should pay your pension. Then you bring nine new managers, 9 or 10 new managers. You were running well. Ronald Adams said on Brass Tack Sunday that National Insurance was being run well. So if it was being run well, why would you want to have new managers when the Walmart's there doing everything and doing it well? No, they want to get jobs to the boys. But unfortunately, parents have to open the eyes and look at them. If they don't open the eyes, when they do finally open the eyes, there ain't much to see. It is unfortunate for you that they are so illiterate, can be so illiterate.
Yeah. You know, I some time ago when we started the discussion of this Jobby Water, I think you'll remember that. I mean, you and Marcia just mentioned it a little earlier. I did a little bit of research. I think it was in Europe, in some areas in Europe and in Japan and some other areas. Singapore, I think, is another. They don't use this water. They use this water in agriculture, fisheries. It was agriculture, fisheries, and I think poultry development or some poultry feeding and that kind of thing. But it was never applied to the drinking water. And I think on I think it was last week Thursday, and going through the bill, Kimar showed us, for all the talk that they had, there is a line that treats to adding this to the aquifers.
Yeah.
There's a clear line in the act.
Yes, but then Dr. Purdy, this is the thing where they are now saying, because people are asking questions, they come up and they are now lying. I'm going to go outright and say they're lying to Barbadian public about it, when we heard the minister say this, and they were defending it. So how are they not going to say that
they were
that
saying
it's
that
not going to
they were
Africa?
saying that we were already drinking water that. Do you remember?
Yes.
You remember?
And that's a blatant lie.
Yes. And we on the show, we said, yes, they were drinking it in Singapore. It was something I remember Miss McLean was saying she went to Singapore and they experimented and gave her a bottle and she didn't drink it, because as Caribbean people, we're not going to drink that. So what they're going to do is to come to fool us. To again, another pretense, and they're lying, outright lying, like we can't read and we don't have any memory.
No, but you know, they will have people defending them tomorrow, because they pay people to come out and attack us, you know.
You know, Caswell, it is a really simple PR act on the part of the government, you know. All they have to do is to call a press conference, gather all the ministers together, and let them drink the water for Barbadians to see. Let them do it.
But I can tell you something. There's something called special rule. Because the men take the vaccine, no jobs, you know. The men take the
Yeah,
real
I
things.
know. I know. They never. There was an empty syringe. We all saw it. There was a clear empty
No.
syringe.
Some of them had saline.
Some had saline, but
When
some had empty syringes.
some of the batches in that came to Barbados by AstraZeneca from India
Mm-hmm.
were placebos because they wanted to see the effectiveness of it. So you knew which batch was a placebo, and that's the one you took. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I know you're right. You're absolutely correct.
They actually had, because we were guinea pigs, and you have to have somebody to compare it to. So some people who didn't get any, and some people got, and you see what was happening with them. I've lost friends and family who didn't get the placebo.
Listen, as somebody wrote here, we are a nation in crisis.
In crisis.
We are a nation in crisis, Barbados, and this is not trying to, they like to say, oh, we try to blow things out of proportion. It is our reality. My phone is still filled with the negligence and the bad treatment at the hospital. As Caswell says, we don't want to come in here and trash the hospital, but it is our experience, and we have to speak about it. Now you're getting ready to put Jobby in the water and telling us that it's not so. I mean, our water system in crisis, healthcare system in crisis, sanitation in crisis, environmental issues, and what's happening with our in terms of the governance of our country. Where is our leader? What are they telling us? All of our agricultural lands, they're trying to convert it into building homes,
Into
developing
housing,
it
yeah.
into real estate. I
So
mean,
that
it's ridiculous.
their friends can import genetically modified food. Remember my tomatoes that I had to have for 4 months that didn't turn yellow, that didn't turn red? You know, eventually they didn't turn red, they just dropped the pieces and collapsed on my counter because I had them the next, I saw them leaking out and the bottom would drop out.
But you even have to be careful with the eggs, because all eggs are not equal.
I hear the brand $1 million and the what's called underwear. He's their boss, and he talked the minister, the Chickmore, and tell them no, they're not increase. You can't tell them about anything. The people considered probably that they're making too much money on them because nobody can import 1 million eggs and sell them and back it up. Import them at a loss and bring them in a tall.
Yeah.
I don't believe that nonsense.
But but I don't believe they're covered under those control items, Caswell, like milk and what, bread, milk, and something else. A couple of items that are covered under the control of government pricing.
No, they're not.
And I don't think eggs are covered under that. Well, the thing about it is, Marcia, I hear what you're saying, and I've been thinking all through the entire program as Caswell has been speaking, and I must say I go away with the intention of keeping my thoughts in the context of solutions. What can we do? What can we do to bring about change? What can we do to educate? What can we do to keep the government's feet to the fire? That a lot of these things that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the program tonight, a lot of these things are happening. They're being passed through Parliament, and we're only finding out after the fact. There's nothing coming out ahead of schedule. There's no consultation. There's no information. There's no report saying, we're looking at doing this and such and such. None of that is coming out. I was just on the Barbados Parliament website looking for a number of bills which I cannot find on the Barbados Parliament website.
Excuse me, please, sorry. They had to. They had to. They had to be sending around parliamentary papers and things by WhatsApp today, and They had to.
You mean that's why I can't find them? So,
They had to.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
You know, but we need government
I'm
that
sorry,
we
so
need
sorry. I
we
forget to
need
tell you.
you
Oh,
know
wow.
where it's 10 o'clock, and all I'm saying
Yeah.
to Barbadians is that we
Wake up.
deserve better.
Yes, we do.
We
We do.
deserve better.
We do.
We deserve better. I know you look in the mirror and you see your black skin, and for some reason, we who have black skin, for I don't know, we somehow feel like we don't deserve better. And because we don't love ourselves, we don't treat each other well. We deserve better. I deserve better, and you deserve better. And that's what we want to say with these shows. Why Mr. Franklin came on tonight to educate us. Because if we're not keen on what is happening and focused on what is happening, what's going to happen? We drink this water, we get sick, and there is no hospital to take care of us. Because the hospital is in disarray. The hospital,
It's in
basically, you
crisis.
go there, you don't know if you're going to come out, and then you're putting something like water in your body that could make you sick. Do you see what's going on, people?
You know, Marcia, while we were on the show, my wife came.
Yes, half a minute, and then I go to Mr. Franklin and we close. Yes.
My wife came and stood up right next to me because she was not long ago in the hospital, with the context of gallstones, and she said to me, you know, while I was lying on the bed, a man came to the door of the room and said to her, "If you go through this door, you're going to die," and disappeared. And that's where she said, "I want to be discharged. Let me out of here now." She called my son, and you know, he picked her up, and they left the hospital. Now, I don't know if some people may or may not believe in angels. We believe that that was a warning for her. Needless to say, Caswell, Julia is alive tonight.
Thank God.
She is alive,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and we don't know what would have happened had she gone through that door. Back to
I'm
you,
very
Marcia.
grateful. Tell her good night for me.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Mr. Franklin, I want to say thank you for coming on
Oh
tonight. Could you
yes.
please tell your beautiful wife thank you so much, and your family. Barbados is ever so grateful for you being on tonight, and
Absolutely.
you are indeed a treasure. The people are happy you came on tonight, and I know
Me
you have
too.
a lot of work. I know you do have a lot of work, Mr. Franklin, but let us know. We need to know, because when you are able to come back, because this type of education, this type of knowledge, is so important, and we need it, and we
Yes,
need you.
yes,
We need you.
yes.
You when you speak up, it's almost like people feel protected. They feel like Caswell said it, and so we want to acknowledge that. And I speak on behalf of all the other, panelists. And at this
Absolutely.
moment, I use the opportunity to thank Mr. Glenn Murray for, his
Oh,
contribution week after week, every Sunday. Maxine McLean, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, she's on. Dr. Ferdinand, Kimar on a Monday. Everybody who comes on. Thank you, Rose Corbin. I mean,
yes.
thank
And
you
Mr.
all so
Nigel
very
Newton.
much for what you do. We appreciate it. Mr. Franklin, you have this the usual general. You got the final word, General.
Well, good night, and I am not back as a regular because I still have to get some of these cases off before I tell people I don't want none of the clients to sue me. But I'm still here, and every so often I will come in and let people know what is happening in this place. Like tonight, I could not resist. I called Marcia and I said, "Look, I want to talk about these things because this foolishness has to stop." So rest assured, I have not been bought. Because I was told that. I heard that
Ah,
many times, that certain big lady bought me and paid me off and that kind of stuff. That me and Marcy and Green and a whole bunch of things. Nothing is farther from the truth. If my Marcy and Green, she would not find it for somebody else, I would tell her first. So rest assured, there are no problems here, just that I'm trying because initially I got diagnosed with an issue, and they gave me some medication. That medication messed me up, and that caused a little problem. And but the medication was worse than the issue.
The issue.
It was a side effect from the medication.
Yes. Yes.
And that I had to go and get cancer test because I had one big breast and a small one. And first,
which he showed. I went to the office and he showed me. I mean, I'm like, why are you showing me these things?
Yeah, and
traumatized me.
So I told the doctor, I said to him, but doc, when my children were small, and I had to wake up the mothers to get them fed at night. If I had it, then I would be able, but I don't need it now. So we had to get these tests done. And
well, no.
Thankfully, there's no cancer in the breast or nothing like that.
God. Thank God.
That to be the medication. So that's one reason why you weren't seeing me. And but I am not abandoning the show, and I will not abandon the show unless Marcy kicked me off. And
she'll never do that. She's not going to do that.
That is not going to happen.
And I can tell you right off the bat, Caswell, Monday nights, I know with Marcia, but Monday nights the door is always open. Always
all
open.
Nights.
Always open. Wednesday night, Friday night, even Saturday night.
Saturday night I left the office at 7:30. Because I have to.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Every so often I was sneaking, even while working, I was sneaking, and they were hearing you through one ear and doing things with the other, because you're addictive.
Yeah.
So I'm not going anywhere.
So much.
And
can't go anywhere. We need you. We listen. As long as this government this is going on, Mr. Franklin, I'm speaking on behalf of Barbados. We need you. Your voice is part of the opposition, and the people feel. I hope your wife is listening. The people feel like, okay, Mr. Franklin knows about this, and they feel comfortable. And they feel like you're going to do something about it. And this is not to make your head swell.
Well, to tell you the fact that if my wife didn't agree with it, she would have put her foot down, never let come off. So
say that again. Tell her thanks, because people don't realize how the role that she plays. And we want you to send her please say a very big thank you to your wife for me, because
rest assured, she's the boss.
That's two of us, Caswell. Two of us.
And the people say thank you. Well, this is where we close tonight. It's 10:07, and we don't want it to end because we don't know when we're going to see him again.
I'm going to come back.
Just
one correction, Marcia. You said it's almost 2 years. No, we started just before Kaduma last year, August. Yeah, that's when they were going to pass the national insurance bill. We came by Kaduma, but remember when we rushed in and start making noise because they passed it in the House the day before Kaduma, and then they wanted to pass it in the Senate the following Wednesday.
So it's a year. It's a year and something.
Yeah. It started August.
Okay.
A year and 3 months.
Year and 3 months. I'm gone 2 years. Okay.
It's the same time that lady was having her operation.
Yes.
Wow.
They said thank you. Thanks to Mrs. Caswell, not you, your wife.
Yeah, I know what it means.
Well, I want to say thank you to all.
Listen, don't lose your balls.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Pedro.
That's one thing we miss is the laughter, Mr. Franklin. We miss the laughter. The care for the people, and let's be be diligent about this information and do some research. Send me stuff, guys, about this water stuff that you found, and any ideas about the healthcare system. Send it to me, and let us be good students with the information that we have.
Yes,
Thanks again, because if we don't do this, we're not going to end tonight. Okay.
Well,
all right.
I want to thank you so much. Over to Dave. Tonight. I want to thank you for being here tonight too, and this has been a special evening. God bless you guys.
Yes. Good night.
Dave? I'm not hearing you. Anything? Oh, no, we're not hearing anything. All right, we're going to just end. We're going to end tonight. It's late. All right, folks, have a good night. Enjoy. Bye-bye.